Alright. Everything seems reasonably functional. Skipping the timer today, just because, well, frankly, we got off to a late start because I got wrapped up in things. It's kind of funny, I was dithering around for like half an hour, about an hour and a half before we got started. And then I found something to do at 4. And then that's been keeping my entire attention, and I'm just like, oh, if I had just thought of that ahead of time, oh well. Not a big deal. I am going to start by trying to look for a quick match. And just going to see what happens. We'll pop into this play skirmish button while we wait. Just kind of glance around at things. Oh, match has been found. We'll begin in 5 seconds. Alright, here we go. So we're just trying this today. We did run into Omar Little, no big surprise. I'm pretty sure he was already in the stream. Haven't really done a lot with quick match before.
Acceptable location has been identified.
But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes, you know? Sorry, that was just a moment where it was like, I kind of need that right now, actually. So that's just what we did. We went ahead and took it. Alright, let's go ahead. How much exactly iron does this give me a second right now? Let's see, 1 bonus. Yeah, 3 iron a second. I think that's actually enough. We'll go ahead and throw down some steel production. Okay, our scientist has landed. He is gathering up aluminum and iron. Or sorry, and steel. So we're not going to worry too much about all that. We'll try and make this work. This is a little bit awkward. Going for the iron and aluminum. Also, sorry, I'm going to be a bit rusty today in general. Because I haven't played in a little while, because I've been out of town, basically. I've been out of town and I've been recovering from being out of town. So we'll just see how it goes, basically, is what we're going to have to do today.
Scientific colony expanded.
We'll just see what we can get done. It's probably, look guys, it's not going to be impressive gameplay today, I'm sorry, that's just the reality of it. I'm in a 1v1 and I threw down robotic because I was like, tiles! So we'll see what happens. And that's the best we can say about it. It's the best we can possibly say about it, is we're gonna see what happens. 100% profit from the Pleasure Dome. Not as valuable this game. So I'm actually just gonna let that go for 4,000. I don't even care. It's like, fine, whatever. I'm a robot. There's only 2 of us. I'm not all that concerned about it. Power, it's going to be a while before it will possibly be useful, you know? So I'm just choosing not to care. I am kind of making an effort to sell down steel for the time being. Mostly because I know my opponent's going to be trying to sell steel to get his glass purchased and get everything else bought up. So maybe I can keep selling steel for the moment. And then just purchase it all back as I need to do things like put down that geotherm plant. I don't really know, guys. It's kind of an awkward thing. We can also just bribe a claim. We can grab a goon squad. Probably the most important thing to go ahead and do. Then we can go ahead and perhaps establish this geotherm. That's going to pop the steel price back up, unfortunately. And we can see our opponent actually sold, Omar sold out of steel pretty heavily in response to that increase in price. Pretty much what you would expect. Thankfully, we're not contributing to his farms, making him any extra money. They are making him plenty because they are early game farms, and early game farms are just good these days. They just are. And his glass was not all that expensive. It's going to be a trick figuring out how to make money this game. There is an electronics surplus, followed immediately by an electronics shortage. So that's just left an interesting situation, if nothing else. And we're going to go ahead and take this upgrade.
Beginning construction.
Our geotherm should almost be constructed in just a moment here. We might want to commit 1 more tile to power, and then everything else could go into collecting these other important resources for us to be able to make electronics eventually. Like grab a nice high silicon close to us. Maybe go ahead and grab all the carbon we're going to need. Carbon scrubbing is an option. We've already kind of committed to taking 1 carbon tile, and we could commit to a bit more power. Fairly easily, I think, with just an extra geotherm plant. Now, we sold aluminum as the surplus started because our opponent bought a fair amount of aluminum. It's sitting at that $5 mark, so we'll just go ahead and like keep buying it when it's at $4 for the moment. Just a little bits at a time. There we go. Grab a new claim, I think, because claims are good. That lets us more easily go ahead and get all of our carbon flowing in. But I still think what I would like to do with it in the short term. Alright, auction on the map. Not too concerned about that. I didn't even spot these tiles down here. Shoot. This would have been a great spot, actually. So we'll go ahead and take that. Not really using it for much yet. I don't know exactly what building to put out there. And anything I throw out might not even make me enough money to have been worthwhile in the short term. However, I think it's still good to go ahead and take the tile for 4,000. It's almost certainly going to make more than a pleasure dome did, right? We could take these water tiles way out in the middle of nowhere. Our opponent has no water income. Another option is to take these close ones. Less water. Oh, there's a water surplus. Never mind. Maybe we just throw down an electronics factory. Maybe we just do that and be like, all right, we're making electronics now. Other option would be constructing something like an engineering lab. Just right back in here. Trying to make decent use of that. I think that could be all right. I think it could be all right. All right. Grab an EMP, even though we are up against a scientific player. And it doesn't look like he's purchased any defense for what he's got going on. I'm trying to decide what would be absolute best to hit him with. We're going to wait till that dust storm is over before we hit him anywhere, frankly. But, man, this geotherm, it feels like everything is taking forever. Maybe it's because I was playing some campaign games on fast just a little while ago. And that was just because I was kind of experimenting with some new stuff that's going on. But, I don't know, guys. It's weird to me. It's weird. So we are going to want to also plan on some chemical production at some point. Maybe even move into it before the electronics, and then use the electronics for kind of a late game style push. He's got some amount of resources saved up, but he used them to expand, so that's fine. Let's see, we could hit his power pretty hard right now, and I think we're going to. Doesn't really stop him from making money right now, but it can kind of help us maybe make more money. You see, we're paying off debt fairly effectively right now, which means our power could make us some money before long, potentially. I'm going to grab an adrenaline boost. It's kind of more of a long-term thing, and I'm really looking for an upgrade at this point because I have fallen behind quite heavily on upgrades. It's just steel does not produce nearly fast enough for robotic these days. I think is a big part of it. There we go.
Complete.
We got it done. We got it done. So, do I go for the chems right away or the electronics? The electronics are the obvious move for good reason, right? And there's a good reason to do the obvious move most of the time. Go ahead and bid a little bit on slant drilling. Not a whole lot, actually. We just want to push it to a reasonable amount. I don't know exactly what is reasonable in this circumstance, but I think he'll go up to at least 18. He might not. That may have been too far, because we don't actually want this all that much, if we're being honest. We would have liked to use it to give our opponent some debt, basically, and that's it. We didn't really want slant drilling all that much. I don't think we get almost any immediate benefit from it. Kinda sucks, but that's okay. We have it just in case we need it in the future, which could be alright. Could be helpful. We are making steel still, so that's something at least. It's making us a decent amount of money. Our opponent has a pleasure dome down, which is making him $162, which is really only making him $1. Right? Like, it's not the end of the world, but it is a bit ridiculous how valuable the pleasure dome seems to be these days. Just sell a little bit there, make sure we've got that going down. Alright, that means that we can probably fairly safely use this adrenaline boost before long. So I'm actually going to throw down 4 chem labs. This is something I don't do often, but I might be able to get away with this game, or at least often these days, I should clarify. Throwing down that much production. However, I think it could work out these days. So as you can see, we're making quite a bit of money from our chem labs, and then we're just going to adrenaline boost these. There we go, all 4 of them. Because he got aggressive on us, we should be making a significant amount of money from that. Look how much money is pouring in from these tiles. For a 1v1, that's pretty serious. And then we're going to grab up a nice power surge, just in case we end up needing it. These chems are making great money, and now we're just looking for an upgrade. We're just looking for an upgrade. Okay, carbon shortage really hurts in a lot of ways, but we can grab more carbon if we need to. Might be a better idea still just to go for that carbon scrubbing. We can see we even have this carbon tile here. I suppose we could actually take that as iron for the moment. That could be helpful. Okay. He stemmed his buildings, so we are going to respond with a little power surge. It did not do a very effective job.
Improving efficiency.
But that's okay. It happens. So a problem is we slammed ourselves up against a wall to kind of get the positioning that we wanted early on. How are these doing? These are almost losing money. Almost losing money. Let's upgrade electronics production, and let's go ahead and get that established at this point. Just toss down, say, 4 electronics factories. These will become unfrozen and start making us significant amounts of money fairly soon. These need to be turned off, unfortunately. Maybe what we go ahead and do is grab a goon squad for the electronics factories. We'll bid on that new claim. We can afford 6,000 debt fairly easily. Then I'm going to want a patent lab fairly soon here. 16,000 is what we need for a patent lab, or just a bunch of steel and glass. Been mostly ignoring glass due to the fact that we don't require glass as a robotic player. It's just not something that's necessary for us. 10,000 for a claim I will definitely take. We'll go ahead and throw that at carbon for the time being. He's also buying up his own stock, which is just fine for us, as I think we've been pressing into the late game a bit more effectively than he has. As you can see, our electronics production is making us pretty solid money. We'll go ahead and invest in that a little bit more right in the moment. Anyways, like I was saying, I think we're invested in the late game a bit better than he is, and he's just kind of pushing the game later by doing something like buying his own stock. So that's just fine for us. Go ahead and get this patent lab down. Kim still would not make any amount of money whatsoever, but I'm not going to scrap them just yet, because we are planning on consuming a fairly large number of chemicals. See, we're upgrading electronics quite seriously right now. And we have a patent lab down. So both of those things combined tell me that it's probably a good idea not to scrap out of chems right away. Something I haven't really checked up to this point is Offworlds, and Offworlds look pretty good this game. I will go ahead and start buying myself up. Get at least half of myself secured. I think I'm making better money than he is in the moment. I do want to keep using this black market, however. Let's go ahead and grab what? Maybe an EMP on something could be pretty good, like right about here. Could be a pretty solid EMP, I think. Chem labs are still pretty bad. Electronics is still fine. Let's go ahead and get carbon scrubbing started immediately. Buy into our opponent's stock a little bit because it's pretty darn cheap. Buy a little more into our own stock. I want to get like half of our stock secured, then go for half of his stock is kind of what I'm looking at. Got hit by a mutiny. 30 seconds until we can do anything about that, unfortunately. But not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. Electronics is still going strong. Steel is not so hot these days. Iron's pretty expensive, and this massive power cost attached to steel is actually costing us a lot of money. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is transition all of these into solar panels because silicon is pretty cheap. And I think that's just the right idea for now. All this time, I would love to push to an off-world, but we've been forced into this stock race. And so we will do the stock race for the time being, basically. And we are going to go ahead and grab that back. No more superconductor for him. Interesting that I was able to see that he was going for superconductor. That is interesting to me. We'll go ahead and bid a little bit on the geotherm. Power's pretty valuable right now. Our opponent also has a lot of debt, so he's not going to have an easy time grabbing that geotherm away from us, so that's just fine. Turn the chems back off. Electronics production is almost completely researched at this point. Let's see. Power production might actually be a pretty strong idea right now. And we're, of course, going to keep buying our opponent's stock. We will not be able to keep him from acquiring superconductor at this point. We have no tools that we can use to stop it from happening, unfortunately. That's just the situation we're in right now. So we got about half of our own stock, half of our opponent's stock. The question is, do we keep committing into stock for the time being? Or do we send our cash somewhere else immediately. Okay, he's not researching anything anymore. Good to know about. The other thing we could really do is go ahead and press for this Offworld. That's the other option we have in cash.
The black market is online.
Gonna go ahead and take that back because I still would like that carbon scrubbing. All of our resources are kind of dependent on us having it right now, and so I would love to go ahead and finish it on up. And then maybe this last claim I've been saving for an Offworld, but instead I'm gonna commit it to water, and then maybe. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and commit it to water instead of an Offworld and just push for the kill because I think this game is just about over. As you can see, we are making massive amounts of money from all this power we have around. Like 700 per tile, and we've got 6 tiles committed to just power. I just missed winning the game because I'm busy talking, but that's going to go ahead and do it. Nice little 1v1 for warm-up. Alright, I haven't been paying any attention whatsoever to chat. I will fix that after we've gone over the game just a little bit. So that was fairly straightforward. You can see what won me the game very easily was mostly power. Excuse me. Electronics can't be discounted. And I think it was actually pretty similar amounts of money made between electronics and power once you count in kind of all of the auto purchasing and the acquiring of carbon, because the carbon acquired, a lot of that was going to electronics. Some of it was over to chemicals, which we did manage to make a little money on before they just completely fell off the map. And if the game had gone on longer, all of those long-term investments would have paid off better and better and better and better and better as time went on, right? Because that was the advantage. We managed to keep ourselves in a nice, strong spot with the black market and make these long-term commitments with the patent lab and the engineering lab. We had carbon scrubbing just right at the end of the game. We could have turned these back on. Don't know how much money they would have been making, but it would have been some, and it would have also heavily increased the amount of money being made from our electronics production, not consuming all that carbon. So can't discount the electronics, all things told, but power was really the name of the game for a long time. Kind of a nice thing about not having a lot of debt right at the start. Something interesting to consider. We can even maybe take a look. We've got buildings here, and it's got entertainment. This is still like the most ridiculous screen in the world to me. Entertainment. How much should each building make off of entertainment? I don't know. Was it the Pleasure Dome? Then the value was 0. It's just a ridiculous screen, in my opinion. But we can check Omar Little. We can see he only made $33,000 off that Pleasure Dome. He spent some amount of debt on getting virtual reality. I think it was just like $4,000 or something. But still, he spent $4,000 on that, and then a significant amount of the time, I do not believe it considers the power cost relative to the Pleasure Dome. And power was so expensive, the Pleasure Dome, we were kind of accurate in our opinion that the Pleasure Dome was not going to be a strong tool this game, because it's a lot easier to maintain a high power cost in just a 2-player game unless people really drive it home. And considering we only went into 2 geotherms, it was like just a constant nice little stream of cash, while never flooding the market enough that it became an issue. Alright guys, that was a nice little confidence booster for our warm-up today. I'm sure we're going to be moving on to lose some games now, but overall I was happy with that one. Okay, let's go ahead and get a custom lobby set up for people. Pop over to this reveal map masquerade. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look through things. Oh man, I know I should have just gone expansive, right? Like that's how it always is whenever you're playing robotic. You know what could have made your game 100 times easier? Playing expansive. But I don't know, I see the double tiles and it's hard for me not to go robotic. Like there were a lot of resources right there and I was like, I know this is bad and I'm doing it anyway. Here we go. I don't know. For some reason, I see those tiles and I immediately think robotic, even though expansive would have been better. Because I could have also planted just right next to that water and had the aluminum and iron really close by. It would have been a better call. Oh, man. But yeah, oh, an interesting detail. So far, next patch. This is some complaining that was happening, I think, during my last week's Tuesday stream. I was whining about how the Pleasure Dome is affected by Adrenaline Boost, and none of the other buildings like the Pleasure Dome are affected by Adrenaline Boost. Yeah, it looks like in the next patch at this point, the other buildings will also be affected by Adrenaline Boost. Which I'm pretty much always going to call Adrenaline Boost because it has way too long a name these days, and I liked Adrenaline Boost and it was fine. I still find it amusing that it works on robots, but whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. Just waiting on one more player, and we will hop on into the game. I'm at kind of an awkward time, so I don't know exactly how many people are out. Oh, does it work in this patch now for all that stuff? That would be interesting. Alright, we got a fourth person in, so we'll go ahead and get started in just a moment. I guess I could test and see at some point if it works in this patch. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, here we go, here we go. Whoa. Look at this. This is a scientific dream right there. I don't know exactly how much debt we commit to trying to get that spot, but that spot is crazy. Like, look at all those resources. Another option is to just be super rude and drop robotic in the middle of it. I don't know, we could also even just go expansive in here and it would be totally fine in a lot of ways. It's very tempting to just drop expansive right in here and see what we can do with that. It's not the perfect expansive spot if I drop right there, but it's pretty good. And I really would like it in a lot of ways. Some real good tiles there. Okay, a robot found it elsewhere with really, really high levels of debt. That's unfortunate for them, I suppose, but okay for us in a lot of ways. Let's go ahead and throw down. Drop a couple of mines, and then get that aluminum going across the map. See if we can just get all that done. Grab up plenty of steel because we took a whole bunch of iron and water out of the ground. Makes it easier for us to go ahead and buy that steel immediately and then move into this aluminum as well. I don't know if this spot was really worth that much debt, but it's something I'm trying to experiment with. I've failed on selling carbon and silicon, but that's fine. I am trying to experiment with going ahead and founding a bit more aggressively in debt and trying to find that line. So that's what you're seeing today, is some of that going on. We are expansive, so I'm just going to grab another aluminum tile because I see some aluminum being collected. Not a huge, ridiculous amount, but I have those extra claims, basically. So I'm going to be trying to abuse that. It should also be noted, yes, we took less iron than we could have. However, we got the water tiles with it. That should be fairly obvious why that's strong. Just this idea that if iron drops low, then we can transition it to water very easily. There's a lot of value in that. Shouldn't be any real surprise. Okay, an auctioned tile. That's a pretty decent tile in a lot of ways. But I don't really want any more debt. I'm hoping these guys push it around a bit, and I can just sit back and watch that happen. Herbert is going to need to be watched. Herbert founded too early and is quite likely dead. So we are going to need to look into potentially trying to make a lot of money up front rather than trying to get through expansions just to try and stop Herbert's death from running away with it, you know? Herbert trying real hard to die. He's working very hard at it. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out for him. We're also selling iron pretty aggressively right now, even though the price is very low, because this player in particular is trying to sell iron in order to get to an expansion, so it'll hurt him quite badly to have that iron price be very, very low as he's trying to upgrade. So we just keep selling iron and aluminum, and it hurts him quite badly. This scientist has also committed into aluminum, so it's not that bad to just go ahead and keep selling this aluminum to try and stay in a fairly strong spot. Silicon, we do not have real... Okay, we do have decent silicon right here. Never mind. I was looking around, I wasn't seeing anything, and I was like, what are we going to do about silicon, if anything? Turns out we don't really need to worry about this. Okay. Fairly good start going for us. I'm still nervous about the fact that we are not making enough money in my mind. Like, in my opinion, we just are not making near enough money. We cannot commit to super long-term investments right now. We're not going to make money off of power for a long time either. That was not necessarily the best idea, going for power right now, when we know we're going to need to bring down Herbert. The trick is going to be stopping Clark from making that buy happen. Now, he's going for a geotherm, which is really nice for us in a lot of ways. It's really good to see him going ahead and going for a geotherm. We're going to grab a goon squad and see about using that in combination with an adrenaline boost on maybe some food at HQ level 3 and see if we can use that to bring down Herbert. That's just going to be the play we have to make. We're expansive. We're trying to take advantage of that fact by tearing through upgrades. We just have to be a little bit careful about it is all. But we will go for this upgrade basically the moment we can. Throw down, not quite yet because we need just a little extra steel for these farms. But basically about now should be okay. We expand, we throw down farms, and we get down just a little extra power if we can at all, is what we'll be heading for. Alright, just a little more power, please. It's going to be... Power's a bit expensive, let's be honest. And then we'll try to get an adrenaline boost down when we can. Or sorry, silicon's a bit expensive at the moment. These are kind of hurting us a lot. They're not really making us money anymore. Should be able to get down that solar panel now. Thank you. We will go ahead and goon squad our farms. That's the way we're trying to make money. Okay, these are pirates. These are actually pirates this time. There is a scientist in the game, so I'm going to bet on these a little bit. A little bit, but not much. I'll push this to maybe 10. Okay, the scientist expanded. That's great for us in a lot of ways. Let's grab up this adrenaline boost. Okay, we got it for 7, it looks like. That's really nice because if this scientist tries to throw down things away from himself, we will be able to easily take advantage of that. We are going to go ahead and adrenaline boost our farms. Make sure those stay active. And now is when we start trying to head for that purchase on Herbert because he is very, very cheap. So, we need about 42,000 to finish him off. We're making a decent amount per second. Not quite able to 100% chain these stock buys. And we should also be looking at moving into these water pumps here that we had planned on earlier. So, let's see what we can get bought up of Herbert. Need 4,000 for that last little stock. Should be okay. Both of these water pumps, not quite enough to deal with our farms yet, but that's because our farms are boosted. So that's okay in a lot of ways. 36,000 is what we would require to finish him off. We do, however, need to be concerned about our own situation right now. Let's see. We do have farms down over here, so we're going to be watching to pirate those before too terribly long. There's also silicon coming in over there. Something to consider. Let's grab an extra claim because I do want a little more power down. If I can pull that off, just to kind of help out with that. We can see that's not really being kind to us right now. We might even be able to toss down another adrenaline boost on all that power. Might be worthwhile. Alright. Oh, those even got boosted. That's really nice for us. So we're just going to drop down pirates right now as that food tries to come in. Should be quite helpful. What happened to our aluminum right now? Oh, they're turned off. We turned them off because we turned them off at the same time we turned off the iron. That was a terrible idea. It explains a lot, but it was a terrible idea. Okay, now the question is, do we concern ourselves with managing to buy up Herbert, which would be a nice boost, or do we go for upgrades and buying up our own stock? I am thinking we try to maybe buy up our own stock in the moment. We are maybe making enough to make, say, 5 stock buys is what we would really want. The other option, if we go for an upgrade, upgrades are kind of cheap right now, besides for the glass component is the thing. that's why I'm almost thinking we buy a claim, we toss it down on some silicon. Why would I take that silicon? I'm not an idiot. And we can even go for this claim auction fairly easily. This would give us 2 silicon tiles, which is really nice. 2 silicon tiles is really nice right now. Obviously, those would be making us a lot of money. And then maybe afterward, we will be able to throw down glass fairly easily. Just some decent glass production. But we definitely want to secure a significant amount of our own stock before we try and finish off Herbert, because Herbert isn't free. Herbert isn't free by any means. We just committed a lot of money to him early on to almost guarantee we'll be able to get the buy later as long as we don't heavily misplay anything. It's basically the situation we're in. We're also going to go ahead and transition into some chem labs because chemicals are looking pretty nice. You can see our debt is still doing just fine. We're at a B rating right now, which is not bad. Not bad at all, so I will take it. I think we won the auction for 14,000, so let's go ahead and use it on a little more silicon income. Should be fine. I really should have tried to steal silicon from him instead of focusing on the food. That was a terrible decision. I was just locked in on the idea of what I wanted to do, and I didn't pay attention to what actually should have been done. Terrible decision. Absolutely wretched. Let's go ahead and upgrade. We could commit to a little more silicon. I don't know if I really want to. The upgrade probably was actually a bad decision in a lot of ways, but it does let us kind of keep our steel running a bit more easily in the moment. And the other thing we can do with this is maybe just secure a couple of nice carbon tiles, considering there's no scavenger in the game. And then we save the other claims for the moment while we buy up a significant amount of our own stock. So 24,000 is what Clark has. He's going to need a lot more than that to buy out Herbert. So that's good. That's very strong for us. We'll just keep buying up our own stuff. And we're watching to kind of see when we should put down these glass furnaces. We could, in the short term, always just throw down electrolysis reactors, however. Might be a slightly better idea for the moment. Throwing all those down. We're going to hit a control shift down, just to kind of simplify everything for ourselves. Yeah, I kind of like the reactors. Farms wouldn't be bad in this at this moment either. But the reactors are certainly going to be a bit stronger. Chem labs making okay money. Everything's making decent money. None of it's super great money, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be super great money. As long as we can get our opponent purchased, there we go. He was starting to finally death spiral out right in that moment. So that's why we went ahead and bought him before securing that last stock of ourself that I wanted. Interestingly enough, we pick up an engineering lab with this, and I'm going to go ahead and do the chem play for now with the lab. We'll go ahead and upgrade chems a bit and then keep selling them out. Then I'm going to buy, I think, one more stock in myself. There we are. This is all very awkward and not good in a lot of ways, but that's kind of what you expect when you buy a player who is dying. And then we're going to maybe transition out of some of this water and move it into some iron for the moment. There's no iron under this guy. He already had a little iron coming in, but it wasn't quite enough. And the virtual reality is actually really strong right now, in my opinion. Like, this could make for a really good building. A pleasure dome right now could work out very well. 14,000, I think we would be okay with taking it for 14. 16 is starting to kind of push it, and if he goes for 20, we probably won't bid him up. We'll probably let it go, but we'll still build our own pleasure dome. Purely because it will take some of his money away if we build our own pleasure dome. So that should be just fine. Let's see. Let's go ahead and grab maybe an adrenaline boost and just pop it right here. See, I don't see this working any faster. I've been told this works faster. I don't see it working faster as long as the time left isn't lying to me, because the seconds are continuing to count down at the rate that one would expect, and they never moved in the moment that I dropped the building. So let's get that. Oh, I bought a little more stock in myself than I intended to, but that's okay. We'll hit the upgrade on steel. Should be okay. We can see water's still going really strong, and so is iron. So maybe what I do is I just toss down some iron there. I maybe move back into my water here. That should be enough iron to kind of work acceptably. We get down a little more power. We find a spot to plant a pleasure dome. Right there should be the most valuable. We try and keep it close to the neutral headquarters because there's an awkward fact that close to the headquarters is better. I find it, I don't know guys, I find it weird, but it's fine. And we would really like a goon squad about 4 seconds ago. Would not have made all the difference in the world, but it would have helped out just a little bit. Teleportation has been acquired by an opponent, so we need to be a little bit concerned about him. And I'm thinking maybe we just start doing some more upgrades, though. Try and get into some of that electronics production, because we are consuming electronics pretty heavily. Let's see, no claims left, right? Okay, how are Kim's doing? Kim's are still kind of making money. Let's start upgrading electronics. Hit the upgrade here.
Thanks to the infrastructure boost you approved.
And then just go into like a massive amount of electronics production. Bradbury has 2 off-world markets down, so we need to get him purchased before Clark does, if at all possible. We can see this is just like a massive race to buy Bradbury at this point almost. And unfortunately, we are well behind it because we kind of chose that moment to invest in a lot of different things. And that was not necessarily the best idea. In order to continue with this idea, we're going to need to get down another engineering lab, I think. Then we're going to need to throw EMPs at Clark to make sure he can't get this buy done easily. So 144,000 is what we have to push to. Excellent. Okay, an underground nuke we could use, I think. We could use it on water fairly easily. Okay, well, we got it for 7,000, so I'll take it, I suppose. We'll go ahead and nuke that tile out. Hopefully, our water will be a bit better in a moment. As we can see, the reactors are not doing so well, so we go ahead and turn those off for the moment as well. And we're trying to just make money off of mostly our steel, I suppose. The chem labs and our electronics factories, of course. The chem labs are not doing so well at the moment. The reactors, yeah, these ones have been losing money forever because they're just awful. These are just really strange tiles to try and deal with, honestly. But we're trying to just push to this buyout. I think we can pull it off. But he has a lot of debt to pay down, which is why we needed to shut down some of his production as well. This idea that he has a lot of debt to pay off, and all the debt he's paying off is making it harder and harder and harder for us to finish our purchases. Let's go ahead and keep electronics upgrading. That should allow us to turn our chem labs back on very easily. We go ahead and grab a power surge. We hit the electronics. 192 is what we're looking at right now. He's still suffering quite heavily from debt, trying to pay it off as rapidly as he can. But he's just not quite there yet, and we're pushing pretty hard for this buy. That shut down a significant amount of our income, but it wasn't killer. We can turn the reactors back on fairly easily. Let's check these reactors. They're not killing us. They're not good either, you know? Just kind of the state we're in. We're about 20,000 away from the kill. I don't know if we can truly push for it, but we can make an effort. We can certainly make an effort. I'm worried about how much power is costing us right now. Certainly. I think I should make maybe a couple of transitions in here, just to slightly stronger buildings. There it is. That's the buy onto Game Slayer. That should lock it up for us fairly easily. We got these 2 off-world markets. I'm going to go ahead and just... This gives him a lot of money with which he can buy our stock. But that's not the end of the world. Because we can buy his stock too, right? We can start buying his stock. And we already had a lot of our stock secured. On top of that, well, we have 2 off-world markets. Let's make sure those are actually sending. We're just going to send food out of sheer laziness, I think, when we can. Start the food shipments. Come on. Do we really not have enough to buy up enough food to get this done? That's pretty crazy. But entirely believable. All right. Let's move out of this glass production then and on into a bunch of farms. We also have plenty... so what do we send instead? There's like not a lot else to send. I guess we could send a couple chem shipments while we wait for food to sort itself out. That could be alright. We could take a geotherm tile. Geotherms are amazing. Steel is awful, so let's move on out of steel. And okay, we got that for 8. I'll take it. Pop a couple of those down and then a patent lab. There we are. Grab this geotherm. I would love superconductor. That's kind of what I'm eyeing right now. And let's get these Clark buys done, these last little bits of stock if we can. Hopefully, okay, he did manage to secure one more bit of his own stock. I think that's okay. We're not even going to worry about our own stock at this point. We're just going to focus on upgrading. We'll start with water, then we'll head into food, I think. And we're just queuing all these up because I'm too lazy to scrap my chem labs. And if we keep buying up chems, then that raises the price. And then we can sell chems and I can continue being lazy. That's it. That's all it is, for being entirely honest. All right, let's maybe get into a bit more food. Can we? I don't know. Water's pretty iffy still. And we nuked this water that we have now, so that's just funny. But I suppose what we could do, silicon's super cheap. We can just put down more power for the time being, I guess. Head to superconductor right now, because superconductor is superconductor. And maybe go ahead and toss a mutiny this way, because we have all those queued up anyway. Okay, is he... No, what did he mutiny? He mutinied an Offworld. Well, that just makes more sense. I didn't even think about the fact that he was going to be mutinying our Offworlds away from us. But whatever. That's what I get for not thinking about the fact that I had an Offworld. I really should have considered that in all of this. Just this idea of, you have an Offworld, maybe you should do something about it. Let's go ahead and buy an upgrade because it's super cheap, and we can put it into this nice, easy water production, which is absolutely fantastic. We'll need to transition a fair amount of that later, so we'll save maybe the other 2 claims. But hopefully, well, we'll put down one more kind of food here, just so, I don't know, so things are a little less awkward, quite frankly. Reduced by dust storm. Let's see, we've got a nice patch of farms here. Look how much not money our farms are making because of this dust storm. How ridiculous is that? It's all because of this dust storm right now, if we're being honest. 700,000 is what we're pressing to. Our opponent is going to need probably actually a fairly similar amount of cash, given where stock is right now. But I think we're still okay. I'm going to grab a mutiny and have it prepared for when he does that. I'm going to actually pay attention this time, and then I'm just going to start auto-sending food because, once again, I am insanely lazy. And then we're going to need to get food upgraded because, man, this dust storm is just killer right now. We got water upgraded completely, so we should kill that momentarily. Like, water should just die in a second. And then with that, we'll go ahead and transition out of a lot of our water and on into all of this fantastic food production that we can. So let's get out of all this. It's only okay. Into even more food. There we go. Keep it upgrading. We got superconductor established. Do we worry about anything else here? I don't think we do. If anything, it would be thinking machines, because we have been eating a lot of mutinies, and so maybe thinking machines is an okay decision. After food, we're going to upgrade chems. Should be fairly simple as to why. Take that back again. Thank you. And that should be just about the game pretty easily. Since we didn't make that many mistakes in the late game with our Offworlds, our food production is absolutely enormous, and that's just going to be the concede from Omar Little. All right. That's unfortunate. But yeah, it was an interesting little game. I guess the trick was that we were the first ones to really establish good, solid production, is what it was at the end of the day. And then we took that good, solid production and we just bought an extra player with it. And that made the rest of the game a lot easier. Gameslayer was really flaming out on debt for a while, which was interesting. I know I do that myself sometimes, but I always kind of wonder exactly how that happened. I think this silicon move was pretty important. Managing to get into that silicon was a pretty big deal. This glass was down for a lot longer than I thought it should have been, because glass is just so difficult to produce separate from your base as a scientist. It's something to consider, is that glass can be really a huge pain. And a lot of the times, if you want to put down glass, you should either put it down next to your base or put down silicon instead. Just a thought. Okay. Other than that, I mean, it was fairly straightforward. We made money, just little bits at a time, little bits and pieces from a few different sources, kind of at HQ level 3. That gave us a lot of stock buying that we got done, which kind of made sure nobody else got the buy done. It didn't give us the win immediately, right? because Herbert actually defended himself fairly effectively. But it did kind of inevitably lead to our victory in the end. So yeah, it was interesting. All right. We can check here. Made money on water, food, chems, electronics. No big surprise throughout any of this, really. Just fairly simple the way it was. Went pretty even on power overall. Also not a big surprise. Clark made a lot of money on power. Shoot, I didn't even realize he was making that much on power. That's insane. How was he even pulling that off? I guess he just had a couple geotherms, and he never really went negative. I didn't realize that's where all his money was coming from. I should have. Then Gameslayer never made power and died for it. And Herbert, well, he was just dead the whole time. He never really successfully turned a profit on anything. And what he did mostly was make water. Not so good for a robot. All right, let's hop on out of there. Host up another one. Everyone went into chems. Fuel price got raised. Yeah. Some evil person nuked my water. Uh-huh. Alright. By the way, guys, I don't know exactly how long we'll be running tonight. I'd like to go for a while, but no guarantees. No guarantees, just because I'm not feeling too great and I have a few more things to get done, basically, kind of in the wake of having been gone for a while. So I'll try and get in at least a few more games, but I may not try and push for that 3-hour mark like I frequently do. Especially because for some reason my throat's hurting already, and I have no idea why. Because I haven't even done a lot of talking today. I've mostly just been sitting around. Alright, it's taking a little while to get this... Oh, no, never mind, John's here. Okay, 4 people, reveal map, masquerade. Let's get to it. Not a lot of aluminum on this map, not a lot of carbon, not a lot of anything, really. If we're considering that there are 4 people, like, this is a real sparse map. Very sparse. So the question is, what do we do with it? I think we might be able to get away with going scavenger. Acceptably. Like... Scientific could also be okay, but I'm not seeing good plots of water to use. Like, there's just this here. So it's just kind of awkward. I'm only seeing about 3 foundable locations, which really concerns me. And really, it's only 2. Like, the third one is kind of just whatever. So I think we'll try and grab one of those. Not super fast, but we're not going to wait forever with it either, basically. Okay, here we go.
Let's get those ships uploaded and see what we can use.
Take that nice little scavenger spot.
Expansive colony founded.
Oh man, somebody's killing aluminum. Alright then. We'll just take this weak aluminum here. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. He just grabbed up a ton of aluminum though. So hopefully he will sell that and then we can do some purchasing. But I don't know for sure. Somebody went scientific right here. That could work for them. Steel is going to be a bit weird this game, though. And that is a lot of food production immediately. Like, 3 farms, that is an awful lot of food production. Now, Asimov's kind of in an awkward spot. He still has stuff to take. But it is not looking pretty for him. Yeah, this map is kind of funny. Let's go ahead and upgrade. We could take a little more aluminum. I'm nervous about that. But there's not a lot of it coming in, honestly. Like, we could just grab aluminum. We can grab silicon. We can try and use this quick upgrade to just grab the really nice tiles. Because there are so few good tiles of so many resources this game. And then we just quickly sell out of everything and try to push into that glass that we're going to need. Alright, claim auction is really, really strong right now. We obviously can't push super hard on it because we don't have a lot of space for debt right now, but we can push it a little ways. We just can't go to that ridiculous 32,000 that we like to. We will push to 20 though, potentially. We had to bite the bullet for 18. We're probably not going to push to 24. We're going to have to let it go for 20. We just don't have the debt. We don't have the bond rating in particular in order to make that happen. So water coming in should give us a nice little boost in cash to let us get this glass purchased. Silicon we don't really need right away, but it should let us more easily move into glass production and just continue to move through upgrades. Because that's what I really want to focus on right now, is just moving through upgrades. Bradbury is making a decent amount of cash over there, but I doubt he'll be sitting on it. He'll probably be looking to upgrade before too long. Making steel is definitely an option in this game, interestingly enough. That iron price is not very high, and the steel price is. Just something to consider is that making steel is certainly an option. Okay, an adrenaline boost over onto the food. I'm actually not too concerned about that. Like, it's a decent thing for him. He's obviously making money off of it. But I'm not overly concerned about it, if I'm being honest. Like, it's just kind of whatever. I guess you can have that. So do we use wind power or solar? They're both just kind of okay. Not really great. If we'd gone over here, we probably would take wind, but we had good reason for not founding over there. So this would make us 0.5. Yeah, 0.7 over there. I think it'll be better just to go for the solar. We have silicon coming in already, and I do want to go ahead and establish this though before we try and upgrade too much more. And then maybe we go for, I don't know, guys. I would love an extra claim, honestly. That's what I would really love in a lot of ways. Note how I'm also kind of having to forego the black market right now because of this particular play that I'm making. Do I just go for more silicon in the moment? Like, silicon's making decent money with people moving into solar panels. Maybe I just do that for the time being. Try and buy up enough glass for another upgrade. Which I think will require 60? Yeah, 60 glass is what we require for that next upgrade. But silicon's making decent money in the moment, so I think I can get away with this play, not moving into glass production just yet, and instead focusing a little bit on power in the moment to try and pay down some of this high debt that I've got. Because I still have the worst bond price in this game. That's what I get for just choosing my location. And I did not get a huge benefit out of choosing my location. I was just scared to get into Asimov's position. We're going to ignore that. I do want to point out, the aluminum hasn't been great this game, but it also hasn't been awful. And so I think I'm okay with the fact that we took the two aluminum tiles. We can even maybe move them into power later. We'll just have to see exactly what happens. Obviously, we have no interest in this auction whatsoever. We have too much debt for even a normal claim auction. We're not even a little bit concerned about this aluminum auction. But we really would like to get into glass production before long. Glass production would be fantastic. We just need enough money/aluminum to get that upgrade done. So that's what we're trying to go ahead and do. All right. This guy actually has a lot of aluminum coming in. Asimov, like, even after the found, things have not gone well for him. He's trying to make steel, which is great. Like, he was in a very fortunate position that steel was a definite option for him. But he's still not in a great spot right now. We could grab something off the black market. I suppose we could... Maybe a goon squad would be a good idea. It only costs 2,000. I think a goon squad's okay. After all, we are guaranteed the upgrade at this point, right? We have the aluminum coming in. Nobody can stop us from that. Oh, a power shortage on the way, though. That's a really good reason to try and push for this upgrade as fast as possible. Okay, there it is. We got the upgrade done. I guess we got an aluminum shipment in.
You should be proud
And
of
we
that.
can try to go ahead and we'll just sell down a couple of silicon, get down another solar panel, maybe even 2, just to try and take real advantage off of this. We've already got that goon squad in position. We might be able to pull this off. Another option, well, yeah.
Scientific colony expanded.
But the thing is, we really want glass furnaces down, and I would like to commit to 3 of them. So maybe I don't want to go for the additional solar panel, and instead I just try and go for this adrenaline boost to pay off my debt very rapidly. 1,000 per tile. Even if this gets shut down a little bit, this is pretty serious debt payment right now, honestly. It's pretty ridiculous. Okay, we did get hurt. Unfortunately, that's what we get for doing the boost, is we are the ones who get targeted. However, we did pay off a lot of debt with that. So that's not the end of the world still. It's just very sad that we got punished in that fashion. Thankfully for us, there's a glass shortage on the way.
Black market is online.
Glass shortage on the way could help us out quite a lot. We are going to go ahead and shut down the power there, just to try and make some money off of it at some point. Thankfully, we have this boosted tile still running. I mean, so we're still not awful. We're just not great right now. Trying to make some money on this glass furnace. Let's go ahead and check Offworld prices. A lot of prices are staying very low, and an Offworld is a very viable building with food being so expensive. So maybe we're going to look at trying to hit an expansion and throwing down an Offworld very, very quickly afterwards. So let's sell down some glass. We could upgrade. We're not going to. We're just going to start buying up things that we're going to need to make this Offworld work. So that would include, we're going to need a lot of carbon regardless, right? We're going to need a lot of carbon. We need these electronics that we have purchased up. Asimov's going to get that for 5,000. Nobody else is going to care. And thankfully, this silicon has been really, really nice for us this whole time. Just making really, really solid money. And frankly, he didn't even, like, it was a little too risky to try and make an aluminum play happen on this map, honestly. It was just probably never going to pan out. Surplus on chems coming in is something to note, but not... Oh, man. We're just getting hit by all the stuff. I was really hoping I would not have to defend my glass production, but now we're basically stuck sitting here for a while. So maybe I just try to adrenaline boost power again. The other option is to go ahead and hit the upgrade. Right now. Even though we can't afford to put down an Offworld afterward, we can make use of an upgrade. I'm really wanting to just adrenaline boost power again, though. Alright, let's go ahead and hit the upgrade, I suppose, before long. Although aluminum just shot up in price, so I don't really want to do that in a lot of ways. Okay, let's hit this adrenaline boost again. See if we can make this work at all this time. We are paying off debt still, which is fantastic. And we want to stop Clark from paying off debt. Clark's in kind of an awkward position. We would love to punish him if at all possible. But instead, we're going to hit his glass because we're trying to make money on glass. Let's take the upgrade. Let's just do it. Then we can throw down an Offworld immediately, which is fantastic. Let's go ahead and put it there. And then we have 4 claims left. We could commit a little bit more to power. I'm thinking food, though. Food sounds really, really strong. We just throw down like 3 food. Maybe a water tile somewhere. But I'm not seeing great water anywhere. So instead, I think I'm going to try an engineering lab right down there. See if I can make that work. Because we have this Offworld established. We've got a goon squad prepared for it. We've got an extra goon squad prepared for it. So we're just going to try and make all of this work. Power's kind of dying on us, but glass is still fantastic. And we are just making pretty good money all around. Clark is the obvious target to try and buy up. Alright, power has kind of died in a lot of ways. So I'm thinking I really want to upgrade food production. Because water's going to get expensive. Water's probably going to get very expensive. Ooh, nanotech's actually really good. And I want to be able to keep making food so I can keep using this Offworld that I've planted. Okay. We'll keep bidding on nanotech, because nanotech is nanotech. I mean, don't want to let nanotech go for no reason. And for a very low price at that. Okay. Don't really want to plant the goon squad. Do kind of want to use the adrenaline boost. I mean, it's nanotech. Come on. It's strong, right? Like, I could even just scrap these and get a whole bunch of glass off of that. It would be fantastic. Okay, the Offworld is online. We're going to start those auto food shipments. And I'm wondering if we can actually press to another Offworld, but I don't know if it would be a good idea. Get those running. Clark hit a stim pack on his stuff. Oh, man, we ran right into that. That sucks. Okay. Let's go ahead and toss the Goon Squad out then. We'll just toss it there, kind of in an awkward spot. Okay, and then he got overloaded, which is awkward. There. Now it's all frozen anyway. So my big concern at this point in the game is that I've let water go a bit. And I'm going to be relying very, very heavily on food to make my money because this Offworld is the only thing I really have set up well to make money. That's my big concern at the moment. Go ahead and toss an adrenaline boost down to try and make a little bit more. And then, how much is Clark sitting on? Clark is sitting on an awful lot. 223,000 to buy Asimov. Clark is the cheapest, though, at 212. If we buy up half of our own stock, then we can consider getting aggressive against somebody else. Which is going to be something probably important to do. We can also see a lot of people have moved out of power, so the power is kind of helping to pay down our debt in the moment. Which is definitely nice. Alright, Clark's going after our stock, but we can see our stock way more expensive than his stock. So that's okay in a lot of ways. This food, we're going to keep upgrading food, trying to keep it kind of profitable for our Offworld. But it's still an awkward position to be in. We could also think about transitioning into some strong electronics production at some point. But we're relying very, very heavily on these Offworlds getting work done for us. Now, come on. There we go. Got another stock buy-in. We're just mostly waiting on these Offworld launches, which are pretty solid, and nobody else has an Offworld, which is important. A water shortage really sucks. Our food got shut down. That's actually not the end of the world. Our glass is not doing so hot these days, though. It might be what we move into electronics. Just transition our glass into electronics fairly easily. Because it is not making a lot of money. I do wish we had a bit more water coming in, but not much to do about that. It's too late, Clark. It's too late. A mule would be really nice, actually. A mule would be totally fine right now. Okay, the glass is really falling off quite badly. So let's go ahead and move into that electronics. This is what I was talking about with water, but I looked around and there wasn't great water remaining. And I still was okay with taking the 2 silicon instead of the 2 water, because we've seen that silicon has maintained a moderate price the entire time. Like, the entire time, silicon has maintained a decent price. And so now we're just heading for this Clark kill. He knows that it's about over. Our food would actually be making us decent money because of these upgrades if we can finish getting it out. That would be absolutely wonderful. And, you know, as soon as it gets unfrozen. Details. Let's go ahead and grab a power surge. We will go ahead and hit, I think... What are we trying to make? We're trying to make electronics. We'll hit his electronics. Try and keep our electronics stronger longer. And then we need 113,000 to finish him off. He should be able to pay down debt or do some stock buying or something to help out with that. But these Offworld launches, with any luck, will help really see us through. Power is decent. This food is so strong once it turns online at this point. Like, it's plus 100% right now, which is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let's see. We want to keep throwing out Black Market as much as we can. Did he just boost something? Yes, he did. Shut that down. Thank you. We are Scavenger. We will do the murder. All right. Steel production is looking fantastic, so we're going to need to watch for the ability to transition into steel. But I'm still comfortable with everything we have set up. Food is wonderful. Other people responded quite heavily to that water situation, it looks like, and got their water in order. We're just heading for this Clark buy now, which feels It felt like Game Slayer. Yeah, it was Game Slayer. All right.
Scientific colony expanded.
No big surprise there. That's kind of who I expected it to be. All right. Bradbury actually only just now hitting HQ level 5. That is interesting. So we're just going to sit on this Offworld. Despite the fact that food is not doing so well anymore. Shipping food is not doing so well anymore. And let's see. Let's go ahead and start upgrading electronics production. Just get all 4 of those begun. Should be okay. And we can even... No, we don't really want to do any more adrenaline boosts. What do we want? We want to be shutting down Bradbury at this point. I think that was Asimov that only just now hit HQ level 5, though. Okay. We want to be shutting down Asimov the best that we can. Okay, there's a patent lab sitting here. Superconductor would be great, but Bradbury already has it. That patent lab actually did nothing. All right. Let's see. Slant drilling is an option. Kind of an okay one, I guess. What do I have here? That's a high. Thingy machines would be pretty cool. Man, I would love superconductor right now, though. All right, 9,000 for thinking machines would be fine. Oh, slant drilling. Do we take slant drilling? Is that okay? Virtual reality is another option. We can just go for virtual reality, sure. That's fairly simple, straightforward, easy. Why not? Let's pop it up to 20. Alright, we're making chems, which is okay. We're making electronics, which are pretty good. Probably not worrying about that anymore. I'm wondering if steel would be a good idea, but I still want more power, too. Although power, I mean, it's below 100. Maybe I don't have to worry about power that much. I'm just concerned about all the debt I'm going to get from it. I really think these would have been better as steel than as electronics long term. I think that would have been maybe the better option. They may not make as much money immediately. It's pretty close. I'm actually just going to transition them into steel. Just because steel production is steel production, and steel production is good. Alright. Getting that last little bit of Bradbury stock bought up should be great for us. He's going to start buying into us, but that's okay. We have a lot of our own stock secured. I'm going to go ahead and move it into having 6 secured. And then, well, let's take 7. 7 stocks secured. Leaves me feeling really comfortable. I think that allows me to have plenty of stock secured base. I should have left them electronics, so I was upgrading electronics, and I'm an idiot, but it's fine, whatever. Let's go ahead and grab a power surge. This should hit both of them, which is just fine. And now we basically just sit back and wait for our production to overwhelm Bradbury. Power is getting really scary. Oh.
Yeah, your stock's getting small.
Don't really care. That's fine. He can sell my stock all he wants to. It's not going to change anything about this game, because we already have 4 of his stock secured. His stock price is much higher than ours because we have a rather large amount of debt, honestly. But with any luck, it'll be okay. It should be okay. We just need to pay close attention and keep using this stock market. Hopefully he's not too far ahead of us. Sorry, this black market. Hopefully he's not too far ahead of us in upgrades. I'm going to pay down a little debt, though, just to make sure that doesn't completely overwhelm me. And power, I'm trying to get power upgraded. It still hasn't been enough yet. Superconductor is just so strong these days. We picked up virtual reality, which is nice. That's making us some small amount of money. Not great money, but something. And then, let's see. We didn't end up with thinking machines. He can get thinking machines. Try and shut more of this down. And keep the upgrades going. Okay, our power has finally been upgraded to the point where we are getting some benefit out of it. Electronics are still making great money. We're still way ahead of him in cash, I guess. We're not nearly as far ahead as I would like to be. Oh, chem labs are burning fuel so badly. All right, let's hop out of those. And I wanted to upgrade fuel, so let's get that started. Water should, like, food should still be okay. Water would have been a really good thing to upgrade a long time ago. I'm actually going to cancel these and just go for water in the moment. There we go. That should all be okay. 755 is what we're looking at to finish up the game. Grab another EMP. Not going to use it quite yet. Still sitting at that C stock price bothers me a lot, but whatever. I mean, interest just ticked over, so there's really no point in doing anything about it. We're waiting to use the EMP for what should be fairly obvious reasons. Overloaded on the reactors. is kind of okay.
All the money.
We should be right there, finishing out the game. Excuse me. All right. All right, interesting. So apparently boosting buildings, the way it works is by allowing you to do 2 things at once. Is that what we're saying? Because that's super awkward. Oh man. That's super awkward. Okay, I'll believe it and I'll try it out later and see if I can make it work. That's an interesting detail. Because I tried it, and I tried it in the fashion that everybody else does, I imagine. Like, well, it'll just make it work twice as fast. But no, not actually the case. Interesting. I hate these things so much, these bars. Oh, whatever. I talked with Dorian some amount on Thursday about things like this getting changed, so I guess I won't worry about it too much. Electronics really rule in the day for us, actually. Despite the fact that we did not have a lot of electronics production down, it was quite strong, especially once upgraded. Food did all right. Maybe we should have committed harder to electronics, but I didn't anticipating them making us quite that much money. I also never saw this like the entire game, so I'm awful, but that was interesting. I still think we generally made the right selections of what tiles to put where. I don't know what tile I would have cut this game in order to get the extra water tile I really would have liked. Because I think that was the one area where I was like, this game really went according to plan. Completely, right? We got hit by black market at intelligent times, which slowed us down, but it never threw us off course. But the one thing I'm still really annoyed at is the fact that I couldn't get that one more water tile I really wanted. And other than that, I thought our tile layout was beautiful this game. Like, I'm almost always, like every single game, I'm sitting here going, well, that tile ended up being a waste, or that tile ended up being a waste, and I get super disappointed in it. I guess the big mistake I made later in the game was not transitioning these into power. That probably would have been appropriate. I always forget about them. But I still think it was strong to take these 2 tiles and these 2 tiles, you know, because of the amount of work they did in the early game that set us up with that off-world market immediately, which gave us so much security in the late game. So, as you can see, we made like 100,000 on silicon that game, right? And 50,000 on aluminum. So they were strong tiles for us. The only reason we didn't sell more water is because we didn't have any water. Quite disappointing. Omar was scary that game, though. He was kind of scary that game. I think he was making more than we were in the end. It's just we managed to finish off Gameslayer faster than he managed to finish off John. I think that made a big difference. How much tech did he have? I'm curious about this. Like, how much tech did everybody have? So Omar had 7. So I guess maybe he wasn't making more money than we were. It just felt like it. Gameslayer had 4 glass, 1 electronics. That was reasonable for when he was getting his tech. And then we were at 12 with our standard 444. This is something interesting that I noticed. A lot of other people, they'll shift their tech around and they'll go like partial, partial, partial. Whereas I almost always, when I can pull it off, try and commit completely to whatever tech I'm taking in the moment. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's just me playing and getting tech very predictively for how the game is going to exist in 5 minutes, and other people getting tech reactively, but it's just an interesting thing I note. All right. Well, we won another one. I'm going to take a break to make some tea, but I'll throw up a lobby first, and we'll get into that when I get back. I'm not going to throw up a lobby first. Hang on. Hold on. I can't. Steam's down for maintenance. Or, look, guys, hopefully Steam will be back when I get back, okay? That's the best I can say. I'll be right back. Well, I'm back. And it looks like Steam is back. Aha! Current record 1 wins, 0 losses. Take that, Omar Little. Get a little lobby made. Alright. Oh, game filled up. Tell you what, next game we will move it up to 6, but this game we've already got this 4 made, so we'll stick to 4 for just this one. And here we go. Okay. A little bit more of a forgiving map this time. Only 15 water, though, is worth noting. Only 15 water available. Okay. Let's see. 23 iron. That's almost kind of usable down there. It's just a little awkward being so far in the corner, though. It's a good patch of water right here I would love to use in a lot of ways, if I could pull it off. There's some decent spots for a scientist this game, actually. Yeah, that would be just hilarious, right? Just do that. See what happens with the rest of the game. Oh, man. How awful a person can you be is what that comes down to. I'd be totally fine with it in a lot of ways.
Preliminary scans agree this is a great primary location for our new investment. You can count on...
Oh, because I can. That's why. Because I can. Oh, man. And because I'm an awful person. We also have 2 scavengers in this game, so that's just terrifying. And let's see, plenty of iron coming on in. Asimov found it as expansive. He's going to be hitting iron pretty hard, so that's actually bad for us that he's going to have iron flowing directly into his coffers. Thankfully, we already have the steel bought up. So he's going to have to buy steel, and it's going to be a pain for him. But we need to be selling this iron rapidly at this point and trying to push to an upgrade. No, everybody's mad at me. Why? Oh man, no, they should be. This was a rude thing to do. That's how I'm gonna put it. It was a rude thing. Man, I'm not even gonna get this water. That's the awful part. I threw down first. I'm not gonna be the first to upgrade, and I'm not gonna get that water that I desperately wanted out there. So I should really take these 2 tiles, and I might actually do something really dumb to take these 2 tiles, which is just throw down steel in a line right here. I lose some adjacency bonuses, which is bad. But I stay alive, and I managed to hold on to this water just in case I need it later in the game. So we can actually push reasonably hard on this one. We'll go to the 24. We may hold it there at 24. We may get it for 24, which would not be bad. Okay, we're not going to get it for 24. And I'm tempted... I'm tempted to try and get down some power. Maybe instead of some of this iron? I don't know, guys. I don't really want to take... I wanted this water tile so nobody else had it, and I kind of want to use it for water. But it's tempting to instead use it for power, if I can. Why can't I... Okay, there we go. There we go. Now, obviously, we buy up steel instead of selling it right now, right? Because we're a terrible person. Or I'm a terrible person. I don't know if I want to put it on you guys that you're terrible people. The basic idea being that it makes it harder for Asimov to expand, but I don't know if slowing Asimov down is really worth it at this point. I'm going to maybe take this new claim instead. New claim could help out quite a lot because it lets me easily establish this silicon that I really wanted. It's very far away, but we're expansive, so we'll try and abuse the fact that we're expansive. And then we just head into glass.
Expansive colony
From here. There we go, an expansive colony expanded. He's going to get into steel production, of course, and quite a lot of it. But hopefully we're going to have this glass secured that we really want. We're going to have silicon coming in. We can perhaps trade one of our iron tiles for another little bit of power, because iron's down at $3. And it'll eventually rise reasonably far, but I think it'll still be reasonable for us to go ahead and put down a solar panel. So I'll work on that. Yeah, there we go. We can go ahead and put it down. There's our solar panel. Now, they did take this geotherm that was tucked right up against me. A strong move, but still an annoying move, if nothing else. All right. Don't really want to use the black market too much right now, but I guess we can grab a goon squad, so we've got it. Silicon's doing okay at 35. Need to be selling this steel in a lot of ways, but also, I mean, I guess we don't sell steel that much right now. I don't even know if buying all that aluminum was a good idea. I'll just stay out of it for now. It might still be headed down. I don't know, aluminum's kind of in an awkward spot. It could go up or down fairly rapidly. Nobody has a huge amount, but everybody has a little bit. It's kind of the place we're at with aluminum. I don't know why I'm selling steel unless I'm actually going to buy aluminum. Doesn't make any sense. No, why? Oh, man. That actually really sucks, because I thought I'd be able to get one of these two geotherms, even with taking power elsewhere and kind of like delaying it to HQ level 3. And then one of them gets taken, and the other one gets auctioned. So suddenly, like that superconductor nonsense, not going to work out in case I needed to do it. Now, thankfully, I'm expansive. So maybe I'll be okay. I really don't want to let this go for 12,000, but I don't want to bid any higher. Like, oh man. That's what I get for taking the initial one. Alright, well, we bought up plenty of glass now. We're going to just have to move into food. Just hit HQ level 3 and move into food. Is what we're looking at this point. We'll put the farms all right here, next to this tile, of course.
Expansive colony expanded.
Oh, Yuzzo, you're such a ridiculous person. I'm like 90% certain that's Yuzzo. Still don't want to use the black market. Need to focus on getting into an upgrade so I can go ahead and get these farms down.
Our domination grows.
So that's what we're doing. We're getting these farms down. Sell a little bit of this iron off. Defend that tile. Okay. And one claim remaining. I would have used this to just be like farms plus geo, but now I can't. So instead, maybe I just grab this water tile, honestly. Like, I don't even have to put anything. Interesting. Maybe I grab this tile, right? Okay, yeah, I get frozen. Clark. Let's see, Clark. Okay, interesting. And I really want to put down an engineering lab. This is super early for an engineering lab. But hopefully if my food turns on, I'll be able to actually make use of it. And then I'm also thinking maybe we just hop out of steel for the time being. A little awkward to do because it's moving out of steel, right? It's something you almost never want to actually do. But it could work out all right. So power's going up in price, which is kind of okay. I mean, it's fine for us. We have enough power for the time being. Partially because we don't have any steel online, and none of our food is online either, but still. And we want to be able to goon squad that right now. There we go. Got it goon squatted. Now we do need to get it functional, which I think, well, food should be okay. This expansive player has actually been very successful in moving through stuff. I think partially because he just hasn't been shut out by black market the way we have. Okay. And we'll be trying to hit an expansion before too long, I think. He's also managed to avoid power all game because power never got too ridiculous until he just took that geotherm. So that's been kind of nice for him too. We'll try and make nanotech happen. And glass is strong, but I'm kind of wishing we had done all this a little bit differently. I wasn't realizing that everybody else had managed to also move so heavily into food. And so I wish that I had positioned the glass here and I could easily scrap here and move into some water production. Let's not do that. Let's upgrade this instead, actually. Maybe just one or two, but still. Because we actually have no water coming in right now. I could have water coming in, and I probably should. I just don't. Man, I need an upgrade. It's that currently expensive steel is kind of problematic. Are we going to need to scrap out of this food? I think we might. And move into what, if we do? Electronics? Do we make a move to electronics this early in the game?
The black market is on
It might not be the worst idea. The other option is to try and push for this upgrade. Okay. Is there any water left to take on the map? No? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and goon squad this guy. I'm going to scrap here, move into this water. I'm going to move into these water tiles here. Just sell everything. It's done caring. Oh, no, man. I can't believe I just let that happen. I just got rid of so much aluminum, and then I didn't buy it back in time because I was being lazy. That was a huge mistake on my part. Turn these off. Move into steel at this point, I think. We're going to need a little more power, potentially, because we've gone into this ridiculous amount of water that we're trying to bring in. Let's upgrade water again. Can I get to an expansion is the question. It's hard. I've made a lot of mistakes this game. They're coming back to kill me pretty quickly. The question is, do I move this into power or do I leave it as a glass furnace for now? And I think for the moment I need to leave it as a glass furnace.
We caught the dirty rat trying to
okay, yep, somebody trying to hit me again. I don't know why I'm getting attacked over here. I have been attacked enough this game to set me so far behind everybody. And yet it just hasn't stopped. It's not making sense anymore. And it's like a reactionary thing more than a I want to win the game thing. Bradbury and Clark are fighting. I've got to stay out of that, unfortunately. You guys have hurt me enough as is. I can't afford to consider your nonsense. Alright, let's head back into iron. I could grab this aluminum tile. I think that would be okay for the moment. And then food might be okay to move back into before long, but a reactor is easier to get to. So maybe I do that instead. Alright, this glass is still making money, but not much, and I do need power at some point. So maybe what I do... I still think farms are the better long-term play in a lot of ways. They're really bad right now, but that's because of the dust storm. How many people are in what? 3 farms? No farms here. Yeah, farms are the way to go, I think. What is this? Stop auctioning stuff next to me this game! Oh, man. We'll go ahead and throw down the water. We'll grab an adrenaline boost, and hopefully we'll be able to use at some point. This steel needs to be turned off for the moment. And then I wanted power, was what I really wanted in a lot of ways. If I could do a lot of rearranging, I would right now, but I just can't. It's just a lot of poor setup this game has left me in a very awkward spot. Clark still having no debt and working on double engineering labs is terrifying over there. My debt is still ridiculously high, which is not good. I have a lot of resources being shipped in from a lot of different places, which is contributing to that, certainly. My water should be making me really strong money, and it's about to get stronger. I think we'll go ahead and finish that, actually, because that price is still moving up rapidly. Like, watch that price. You can just watch that price go up most of the time, which is pretty insane in a lot of ways. So the food I need to turn off for the moment. I put it down, but the dust storm is still going on, so it's not actually profitable yet. I can turn the steel back on fairly easily. Okay, my power situation is still not resolved, so I guess we bribe a claim. Put down a little extra power. We also could have upgraded, but we can go ahead and just do that now, potentially. The other option is to avoid upgrading for the moment until this steel surplus is over, while we're just selling off massive amounts of water, and instead try to make some stock purchases. Okay, the aluminum we killed, so let's buy that up a bit. There we go. Let's upgrade. Move out of aluminum for the time being, because everybody's basically upgraded at this point. Establish one more silicon tile. Should be okay. Water is still nuts. Now we'll upgrade food as much as we can, and see if we can get down some chem production, because chems should be strong. Food we can turn on. Let's just get down chems like over here. I could even take this geotherm if I really wanted to, but I don't know if that's the great idea at this point in the game. Water is making stupid amounts of money. Bradbury is dying really quickly at this point, like terrifyingly fast in a lot of ways. I need another engineering lab, so I'm actually going to scrap this for it. And I'm going to put maybe another solar panel up there, drop the lab here, and keep buying into Asimov. And then I really need to pay down debt, apparently, because I've let that go too insane. Alright. Alright. We're kind of set up at this point. We're going to buy another food upgrade or two. I have one claim left as well, which I did not realize. I still have this adrenaline boost sitting around, and I never got a goon squad, so I could use it. Power surged on the food, of course, why not? And we were also power surged in water, which is hurting. Oh, come on! I tried to bid on that, it didn't let me. I don't know what the deal was there. Maybe it was just too slow. So we might just adrenaline boost our power and our chems once those are both online. We're still getting attacked constantly. It's infuriating on some level, but... Alright. Let's see, that was improved food production, which will be good once it turns back on. And let's finish up getting that upgrade out. One more claim, one more claim. What do I do with this? Do I just throw down the Geo? Maybe I do just throw down the Geo. Just be like, bam, done. Whoa, Asimov selling out of his own stock. We need to get that bought up now. Whoa, he actually made a purchase. I wasn't expecting Asimov to get to that at all. That's a huge problem. Oh, man. We are not in a good way all of a sudden. Oh, man, getting attacked so much this game. It's just nuts. Clark is getting a significant amount of our stock purchased. So we need 411,000 to finish our purchase. I thought that was going to go to Clark. I thought Clark was in the way better spot in a lot of ways. I was completely wrong, as it turns out. Well, we're still making a lot on food. I want to use this adrenaline boost, finally. I cannot use the black market, of course, because of reasons and logic. How is my debt still this insane? I guess a lot of it's just the fact that I've been... Like, my food is frozen, and I wasn't making power for a long time. Things like that are contributing, but man, it's nuts. Okay, let's get out of this steel and on into reactors now that water is finally calming down. Just a little bit. All this food production, I guess, is what did it for Asimov. He got it done. And I was the one that kept getting hit, so a lot of adrenaline boosts powering out at this stage of the game is really no big surprise. Interestingly enough, on chems instead of food. I guess his chems are heavily upgraded, which is what contributed to that decision. 484,000 is what we would need to clean up this game. I don't see any way for us to do it, really. But that's what we would need. Okay, let's scrap out here, head into some glass, which is okay, not great. But okay. Food is still strong. I wish we had it more powerfully upgraded right now, but... Just do what you can, I suppose. Let's go ahead and upgrade glass as much as we can. How are chems doing? Chems are losing money right now. Get out of this power right here. Are we seriously halfway to dead at this point? Because we are nowhere close to even remotely getting a buy. That's just disgusting. Alright. Way too shut down. Way too shut down for way too long in this game to actually pull anything off is what it feels like. Alright. We could just move all this into glass, I suppose. Food is finally dying off. Which is good in some ways, because it's what a lot of other people are relying on to make a fair amount of money. But I think Asimov was just let run away with it by our scavengers, unfortunately. If I'm being honest, that's what it feels like to me. Is he was just allowed to walk away with the game because all these shutdowns hit me. Instead of him, when I was HQ level 3, I could never get past that this game. And yet still the black market rained on down. It was nuts, guys. It was absolutely nuts. Alright, so we are not going to pull this one out. We're doing what we can with what we have, but it's pretty ridiculous at this point. Let's grab this guy. So he's also successfully making a lot of money on glass. He's just way too far ahead right now, is what it comes down to. Way too far ahead for us to actually pull off a comeback, I think. We have no edge to utilize, is the problem. Food is still making decent money, and he has all the stuff, and we don't have any of the stuff, is what it comes down to. And we're making... I feel like we're even making more money than he is, it just doesn't matter. I'm not sure how that's at all relevant, given that I also had a water tile. The only thing that happened this game, I hope he understands, the only thing that happened this game was he got hit by no black market the entire game, and then I got shut out of my geotherms, and it made everything super awkward. That's really what this game came down to, though, was the black market nonsense. Alright. Well, glass is still making okay money.
Black market
Just not
is
as good as his
online.
money. There's really no way to come back from that. Alright, what do we do? What do we shut down? We just shut down these, maybe? They're making decent money. And there's still, it's just not going to happen. 500,000 is what we need. We're halfway there. We've made really good progress. It just has not been enough to actually succeed yet, you know? And now he's managing to make his transitions. It's terrifying. I wish I could have gone all game not getting hit by black market. It would have been amazing. But it was not meant to be. Well, after all the... Whoa, that explains it. And there's a shortage right now. I could sell down debt and it might help a little bit. But it's not going to do enough. 513 is what we require. We're making all the right stuff. All this steel, which should be kind of valuable. It's not great, but we didn't want to transition into anything else while steel was ridiculously expensive. So it still made sense to make the move into steel. Even if it looked a little bit awkward. And I guess we upgrade electronics, but we're still basically 100% dead. We'll go ahead and pay down debt just to be a huge pain.
Market is online.
Grab up an EMP. Oh man, seriously? Oh, whatever. It didn't completely destroy us, I guess. How are his electronics? They're not great, actually. They're not great. Toss out another EMP. And we're trying, but it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. Geotherm chugging along is not enough. 625 is what we require, and he is on so much more territory than we are. Okay, okay. Iron's going a little nuts. We'll need to be ready to transition. I guess what we'll transition into is some power. We could scrap out of this silicon and make a move into power fairly easily. This is already power. Oh man, one of them isn't power. We got a blank tile that entire time. Well, that hurt. I feel like we're fighting back fairly effectively, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough, you know? Because he's just got so much compared to what we have at this point. It's never going to do it. I mean, he's got six engineering labs. That's nuts. That's insane. What do you do about that? Nothing. You just sit back and die for the most part. Okay. Electrolysis is not making good money. I guess we head into electronics, frankly. Steel is not really making good money, but it's making everything expensive to make transitions. We're trying to make iron the best that we can. But we need 630,000 to clean this on up. We're trying. We're trying, but it's getting a little weird. It's getting pretty weird to try and make happen. Alright, leaving some steel up, but moving some of it into electronics is what we're up to right now. I guess we upgrade iron after this. Iron's the pretty clear thing in a lot of ways. Okay, the freeze hit 4 of our things, including some of our power. And our iron and our steel, so that's not good, but it's not our electronics, which is what's really pulling in cash for us right now, thankfully. 662. He's got 4 Offworlds online, which is a strong move, but it's part of what's elevating this this steel price that I've been abusing a bit. I also know he just hit black market, so I'm going to go ahead and boost my electronics as well. 515 is now what we're looking at. 543. We need 660, and he has probably a lot of debt to pay off. 352,000 debt. He could pay all of that, and he should. Very quickly, he should pay that, basically, is what he's looking at. And he didn't. And he didn't. We had no business winning that game. Don't plant 4 Offworlds when on-world prices are so high. Don't plant 4 Offworlds when steel is $200 a piece and electronics are $600 a piece. Just don't do it. That's it. You gotta be careful with the Offworld. You can't just get all willy-nilly with it. You gotta be careful with your black market, too. This is a terrible black market hit. But this Goon Squad, I think, had been revealed already. I don't know. EMPs would have been a lot better than Power Surges at that stage of the game. Pretty heavy throw by GameSlayer there. Let's talk less about how I won, because that didn't really happen, and more about how GameSlayer lost. So the thing that I did that game, the 2 big plays I made, were obviously in water and electronics, with some touches in steel and glass. to help out. But it was really the electronics that did it for us. We had a lot of really, really terrible things happen to us that game. We had a lot of early black market. We did not get to abuse our water as much as we would like to have abused our water. We did not get either of the geotherms particularly close to us. And despite the fact that we were down, I believe, 2 levels of HQ, the black market continued to rain on down. Despite all of that, in the late game, let's go ahead and check black market usage that game. I had 13. Looks like I got hit 7 times total. Maybe 3 power surges and 2 EMPs, so 5 because the adrenaline boost still counts. Made 2 claim purchases. Okay. Omar only did 9 black market purchases. He might have been the first to fall out. Yeah, he was. Yuzzo only 4, so really not that much. Mostly claim buying, and then a couple of those early EMPs that hit us, I imagine. And then Gameslayer made 3 power surge purchases, so he's talking about, like, the scavengers. No, maybe Yuzzo fell out too, was the one that fell out early. Maybe, yeah, Yuzzo would have been the one to fall out early. So Omar, he bought 2 power surges and 2 EMPs. Yuzzo, 2 EMPs. Gameslayer, 3 power surges. And then I think I was the most aggressive player in the game with 5 offensive black market purchases. Did I also have the most black market purchases? Yeah, I did. Guys, use your black market. That's all I'm going to say about that. Whew. Really, it said 60%. Yeah, Yuzzo took me and him out. Is basically. Yuzzo took myself and himself out. Which was kind of frustrating. I managed to hold on, and apparently there was a bit of a bug going on. But Gameslayer, make sure you save that replay then. Like, you should be able to save that. I'll have to find where it says. Where that replay is. Hold on. Because that's really interesting. And that would explain why you didn't pay down debt. I mean, I was rapidly catching up. I was on some between probably 8 and 10,000 a tick at that point. And it really needed to be dealt with. Okay, what's going on? Okay. Okay, sorry guys, I've got a couple of things to clean up while I try and remember exactly where this is. Offworld replay, there we go. Just get that saved. No, that's not what I need. Because that hasn't updated in the last 5 months. I think I had the replay enabled. Maybe I didn't. Hold on. Here's what I'm looking for. They moved exactly where all this stuff is stored at some point, which has messed with me. So I've got old stuff stored in a different place, and I've got new stuff stored elsewhere. And they moved it like 5 months ago, but I still got used to where it was 5 months ago. So, or 4 months ago or whatever. And I need to get it saved off because it overwrites itself each time, so which means I need to restart Offworld, of course, because the computer doesn't want to mess with it. I'm going to go ahead and do that, just because if that's the case, that's a pretty serious bug that should have led to GameSlayer going ahead and cleaning up the game. Because I do have a replay from like 2 minutes ago, or 5 minutes ago, or whatever at this point, saved off. Yeah, there we go. We're good. That is a giant replay. Shoot. I didn't realize replays in this game were so massive. No wonder you can only save one at a time. That'd be something to look into fixing later. Replays really shouldn't be that big. Okay, now we can restart the game. And see about getting another lobby up. Should have bought this spy. Yeah, it's my documents, my games, Offworld nowadays from what I've seen. Instead of, it used to just be my documents, Offworld, and now it goes into the my games area. Okay, making a lobby. 6 people, there we go. But I'll look at that and see what I can do. Let's get that reveal map selected. Masquerade. Alright, we've got 6 people in here, joined by Death Tacticus and Year End this time. So let's try again. Okay. So we've got a lot of dead space, but hopefully still enough resources around for 6 people. It is a bit of a chaotic map. There are a lot of hills. It is not going to be a simple process. Excuse me, getting buildings placed this time. But I see some stuff that's probably usable, at least. Yeah. It's kind of an awkward map. It's a difficult map. It's a hard map. I understand. Nobody likes it. Also, this is going on. So just something to be aware of. Obviously, very, very powerful tiles. Let's see. I would have loved to find a spot to throw down scientific, but I'm not seeing great stuff for that. So instead... Alright, yep. Somebody else took that general area that I was thinking about. Maybe we just do this. Maybe this is okay.
You must be a rather skilled researcher yourself. I couldn't have found a more promising site even with all my years of experience. Shall we
So I should not have sold carbon already. I think I'm getting this tile. Yeah, I have this tile, which is nice. That's why I went ahead and took that tile.
Scientific colony founded.
And let's go ahead and sell down a little steel and buy a little aluminum. That means we need 2 shipments of aluminum to get upgraded, which is maybe a bit more than we should need. We should have bought into 2 more buys worth of aluminum. So we have 60, so now we just need 1 shipment. I think that's the correct amount for where we're at this game. So we've got decent water nearby, but not much else besides the iron we already established. We're not going to have access to those adjacent geotherms down here, which is why it might have been tempting to found in kind of these awkward spots these other 2 scientists did. It certainly would have been more straightforward, if nothing else. We might go for 2 aluminum again in this game. Aluminum's a bit expensive in this early stage, and I think that might be usable.
I've never seen such elegant use of fun.
So we can go ahead and maybe do some of that. We sell down steel at this point, and we're going to try and get into farms, basically, is what we'll be looking for. Energy vault would be pretty nice. We can go reasonably hard on that. We probably won't end up with it because we have more debt than almost everybody else in the game, as per usual, but we'll try and make it work. And see what we can do. 20 is as high as we push. We're going to let it go at 24 plus, so we do not have Energy Vault this game. Clark is going to have it. It's a bit early for the Energy Vault patent. If that were one day later, people would be fighting all over that completely. Like, that could have gone for 28,000 or more, potentially, if it were a day later. And power were more expensive, but it's not. It's not. So it's not a huge saver like it could have been. So I think we are the first ones to get farms down. They are exposed, unlike this guy's farms. Something to be concerned about, but still probably okay. We're going to go ahead and grab an adrenaline boost and then just sit on it. For the time being, it's pretty cheap, which is why we're grabbing it now. And let's see, we're going to need to think about silicon way out there. That we can kind of use. Whoa, Asimov. Okay, Asimov's down in there, so I guess I can understand why he's got his stuff where he does. Still a bit of an awkward spot. So we need 40 glass, right? And then we're going to need to use that glass to upgrade, and then we'll be looking at... Well, I think we need 50 glass. Let's buy into 50 glass. There we go. That'll allow us to get down a third farm, if we would like to, which I think we probably will want to. As we can see, farms are very effective. Then we're going to need silicon. We're going to need a lot of silicon, unfortunately. So we should be ready for that, and potentially ready to actually take a couple of silicon tiles. It's going to be a possibility. There's also the possibility that we end up scrapping out of our steel, and potentially throwing down the power there. Could be an option. Let's grab a goon squad, so we've got both of those, and now we're just kind of waiting still. We can upgrade, and we should. We'll throw down a farm. Throw down a farm. Do we just take a couple of silicon way out here? These two silicon are already getting taken. We might have to take a pass on it this game. And just try to put down, like, even just a couple solar panels next to us. Just here, and then we'll try and get to another one. It's going to be a bit of a pain, but... And not commit heavily to power, not make a huge power play. This guy's already got this geotherm, so... But just enough of a play on power that it kind of works. Here comes our food, which is important. No pirates available this game, which is also important. We're leaving the steel up, which I'm fairly comfortable with. We don't really want to be making glass right now. We'll go ahead and start this construction. This claim would be pretty huge. Pretty huge. Claims are obviously really, really good. They're claims. Doesn't really require a whole lot of explanation. We cannot push too hard, though, because we are already at kind of an average stock rating, and so I think we're going to have to let it go over to somebody else. Wells can afford this, potentially. He's got an A stock rating. Basically, all this debt will put him just a bit past us in terms of debt once it's all said and done. So it's an understandable move on his part. Now, the question is, how many people successfully got into farms? I think just the one. He's about to get a big shipment, but he doesn't have it yet. So maybe what we go ahead and do is we try and toss out an adrenaline boost, and we grab another one. Alright, who tried to break our stuff? Clark tried to break our stuff. Well, it's understandable. We don't really want to hit Clark back, because he's not really in our way. We could attack here, but we don't know if he's defended himself or not. I'm tempted just to hold this for the time being, actually. So we're doing a good job getting through upgrades.
Scientific colony expanded.
Silicon's pretty expensive. That's a lot of scientists expanding right in a row. We should be able to upgrade fairly soon. An electronics shortage. That's interesting. We'll go ahead and buy into that. That was maybe a bit too much, because we do have a scavenger this game. 2 scavengers this game, actually. But it could still work out for us, alright, as just kind of a little boost. We can upgrade. Let's go ahead and do it. I want an engineering lab before long, and then I have 3 claims besides an engineering lab. Another option is to go for a patent lab first, and try to pick up carbon scrubbing, and get into some kind of carbon-based resource. Steel has just gotten super expensive. Maybe what we do is we drop a steel mill there. That could be okay. Maybe a little power here, because power is super expensive for the moment. Grab a goon squad. Might even boost our power at some point. I don't know if that would be the best idea, but it could work. Steel's going okay. And then we want like a patent lab, potentially. Food's still only okay. It's not great at this point because we've been producing enough of it. But I think I do want this patent lab. I think that's what I want out of all this stuff. I want the patent lab. And I could actually head for superconductor fairly easily. We're also paying off a lot of debt. We're not making money, of course. But we are successfully paying off a lot of debt with all of this power generation we have. So we're still in a pretty okay spot. Carbon has gone completely nuts, and I have no idea why. I think Bradbury is just not collecting oh no, he is collecting carbon. There it is. Who's not? You guys are both collecting carbon. You've just managed to drive the price insane. Which is kind of special in a lot of ways. And we have this one claim left, and I'm not sure what to do with it. EMP is not going to hurt very badly. That is just fine. Oh, seriously? Oh, man. Come on. This is why I'm building a patent lab right now. This is why, is carbon scrubbing. This is why I built a patent lab. This is the entire reason. Okay, we got it. So I'm actually going to just get rid of the patent lab and move straight into an engineering lab. And then I'm going to throw down, I think,
Black market is online.
it's going to be electronics or chemicals. Both of them are kind of good, but I think chemicals is the better option. We're going to just start trying to get chemicals down, and we're going to try and push for an upgrade. Oh, that's awful. I mean, it's kind of okay because we got it, and our debt wasn't terrible because of everything else we've done this game, but man, I was not ready for that. We're still not in a great spot because we would have liked to take some of this silicon. We can see silicon's doing fantastic, which is exactly what we expected this game. Whoa, Marsquake! Marsquake, by all the things, I was not prepared. Okay, let's wait. Cell. Okay, we were late to the cell on the aluminum in particular. That's unfortunate. Let's go ahead and start upgrading chem production. Not particularly good short term, but long term it might work out. We do have the option of moving into iron. And I don't see anybody else having moved into iron yet. So I think I'm going to go ahead and make that happen. Herbert has a terrifying amount of money. We're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to make this happen. Because iron is just that valuable right now. Water is also doing nicely, but we already kind of have food down, so we're just trying to work with that. This solar flare. Alright, we're going to go ahead and hit this adrenaline boost with this solar flare, and watch this. 5,000 a second on power is what we're looking at right now. 5,000 a second on power. Because of this solar flare. It's dropping rapidly, right? I mean, look at power's price just fall constantly. But that's almost exactly what we needed to stay in this game fairly effectively. That'll let us get into a lot more chem production very easily. And then we even have 3 claims left over that we could commit to electronics and just abuse this carbon scrubbing that we have. We do want another engineering lab at some point. We might just plant it next to this one. Adrenaline boosts are kind of expensive. Let's grab a power surge just so we're using the black market. Always want to be using the black market if you can. And actually, power is completely dead. Maybe we just build the engineering lab here. We go to this engineering lab. We make sure we're continuing to upgrade chems. Chems are expensive, but we upgrade chems because we want chems to, like, it's okay long term. Let's just leave it at that. It's okay long term. So these 2 solar panels are generating me 10 power together right now. Little nuts, just a little bit. A new claim would be excellent. We could definitely use a new claim. Would love a new claim in a lot of ways. We're going to get away. Nope, not going to quite get away with it. Everybody else was going for stock purchases. I thought we might be able to slip in and be okay, but it was not quite meant to be. 12,000. We're just trying to push through and really get to use. Oh, that sucks. Not the end of the world, honestly, because we could have moved those back into steel, potentially, but it still kind of sucks. Do we let it go for 20,000? Yeah, I think that's okay. We would have really liked it, but hard to do all that math on the fly right now. So the electronics is making us 130. The power is not doing anything all of a sudden. The chems are really strong, though. Bradbury is concerning me in his setup right now. So maybe we target him, shut down what we can. It's not great, but it's something. Herbert's like, oh, I got it. Yeah, you did. Good job. Okay, here comes our chems back online, which is very nice. Let's make sure we've got all these chem upgrades queued up that we need. There we go. Because we're gonna finish up one, and so we need to make sure we have 2 queued up for when that finishes, because we're also finishing this engineering lab on up. So that's very nice for us. Okay. Now we need to get into the stock market quite aggressively. We're gonna start with ourselves, because nobody is really all that close to a buyout right now. So we're just kind of defending ourselves. Let's look at Offworlds. Offworlds are going to be an option at some point in this game. That's going to be something to watch out for, is an Offworld market. But we want to secure a fair amount of our own stock right now, and we want to be producing a lot of chems right now. So Clark is in a bad spot, and Bradbury is the one going after him. So we're just going to keep shutting down Bradbury the best that we can. Gonna go ahead and buy one more goon squad. That was a bit expensive, but I think it'll be worth it if somebody targets that tile in particular. So the power's really not doing much, but I'm scared to get out of it. Okay, nobody didn't target that tile. They targeted a free tile. No big surprise. Thankfully, we are scientific. It does not shut us completely out, the fact that that happened. Okay, like this one chem lab is still amazing. There goes one more chem production cleaned up. Let's start on electronics now. Fairly obvious thing next is just these high-level resources that we can very easily go ahead and abuse. And we are going to start attacking at this point. We can go after Bradbury and we can go after Asimov. Asimov might be the better target because he is trying to move so hard into Bradbury. This is a very complicated game, though, with an awful lot going on. And I'm not doing a good job keeping up with all of it, so a lot of power there. That's not really all that good. These tiles are really coming down, and we might need to move out of them before long. But I think we're in a decent spot just going after Asimov right now. Okay, more shutdown on a lot of our stuff, but that's more or less okay. We could grab an adrenaline boost, and it might be worthwhile on these chems in particular. Let's see, I'm going to grab a network virus, actually, just so I've got it. Pirates are interesting. We're getting hit by a lot of black market. No big surprise. We did attack 2 people, which is a really good way to get hit by black market heavily. So that's kind of my fault. We'll go pretty hard on these pirates. We're not looking to make money off power anytime soon, and our debt is okay. It's not great, but we have a lot of people in C debt. So maybe it's alright. Alright. Let's just hit more chem production at this point, for all I care. Like, it's about to be nighttime. Okay, pirates landed where? Down there. Okay, that's just fine. They're not targeting us, which is what's most important. It looks like they might be intercepting chem production. Is that what that was? Yeah, that's chem production they're going after. It's frozen chem production, so... But that's interesting. Is it also intersecting? No, it's not also intersecting. Okay, just chem production, it looks like. We're still after Asimov. 233 is what we're after. At this point for the buyout, we should be able to get there, I think. It's just all this chem production that we're sitting on right now. It's pretty massive. We're actually going to hold off on upgrades for the moment while we push to this buy. So much more black market. We're forcing him to pay down debt, which is good. But he wasn't quite fast enough. That's a buy. That's very, very strong. Now, some of our chems over here are shut down. Now, what's actually fantastic is look at these pirates right now. And all they're going to accomplish. It's not very much, guys. It's just not very much. Unfortunately, that was an HQ level 4. Let's see. We need to make sure these are operational again. Chems are pretty cheap. Let's get those electronics finished upgrading. Gonna use that carbon scrubbing. And we just need 240,000 plus whatever. We're gonna buy just a little bit of our own stock. A little bit more. We're gonna have 6 of our own stock secured. Should be a decent amount. Okay. Reactors are going strong. We have this food up here, which is fantastic. We just have a lot of very strong tiles now, except for this iron that I really should have turned into steel a long time ago. There we go. Fixed it. It's okay now. And we're still sitting on only 2 engineering labs. It would be nice to get to another one, which would be a reason to upgrade. But I don't know if upgrading is quite the right call. What we can do is actually just scrap this aluminum tile and hit another engineering lab. There we are.
Yeah.
Stock's getting sold. We'll buy up that last little bit because our stock is starting to turn a little bit rainbow colored. And it would be nice to avoid that in a lot of ways. Okay, Bradbury got to the buy. That's going to make it far more expensive to finish our buy. Chems are also coming way down. So we need to turn these off because chems are actually bad at this point. And I think we can afford to move all of these into electronics production for the moment. And that should be just fine. Electronics is fully upgraded. We are going to upgrade food next. And all of that's very, very cheap. So in fact, what we're going to do is start, not oxygen, we're going to start fuel upgrade after that. There we go. And we're not going to worry about water for now. 360 is the new goal to buy out Bradbury. I think that is definitely our target. Is going to be Bradbury. So after that, who's the biggest problem? Herbert, we still can't see because of that bug. Okay, 150. So Herbert looks like he's the stronger player afterward. Is what we're looking at right now. So we're going to go ahead and grab an EMP and run right into a goon squad. Unfortunate. Up to 200,000 debt. That's pretty high, but we've got the buy that we really wanted onto Game Slayer, so we're still in a great spot. 7 engineering labs available now. Let's make sure they are active. I think we're pulling in some water now after that acquisition. Are we pulling in water? These are turned off. Well, that's understandable. They're actually pretty bad. We have silicon coming in, which is nice. Do we have water coming in anywhere? I thought we did. Yeah, we have 2 water pumps down. We have 2 water pumps down, so that's okay. We're doing all right. And I think we're in a pretty good spot to go ahead and clean this up with our 7 reactors. Sorry, our 7 engineering labs. I don't even know what the discussion going on is. The PD was chugging it. And Dynamite is actually in the game. And we're 3K. Oh, the Pleasure Dome.
The black market is gone.
I have a Pleasure Dome. Where was the Pleasure Dome? Where is the Pleasure Dome? Where's my Pleasure Dome? It's not there. It's not there. There it is. 388. That's not particularly good. Okay. We could throw out an upgrade. Not really looking to do that. Let's upgrade this silicon. And then glass. That's all fine. We'll take Wells over, which was the wrong target. We should have just saved up for Herbert, because he's actually dangerous at 553,000 cash. But I make bad decisions quite frequently. We all know this, so don't be surprised when I do something stupid like that. Let's go ahead and get a mine down there. Water is still looking kind of awkward in a lot of ways. We've upgraded it significantly, but it hasn't been quite enough yet. Because we've got farms. These farms, why are some of my farms telling me they're consuming water? Where are my farms that are actually consuming stuff? I wonder. Oh, here. Here are farms that are consuming stuff. I think we're still making enough that we're going to be okay. We only need 518 to clean this up, but still. Can someone please arrange a match with Soren? I'll let these guys finish their talking before I finish it up. I think I can at any point now. And beat him 10 out of 10 is scientific. I think Soren understands some of scientific right now. I should have gone for thinking machines instead of superconductors. That might have been a good option for him. Alright. We can't quite clean it up yet. Actually, I think he paid down a lot of debt. Or something. But the game is still over. Basically whenever we decide it to be. Bit of an awkward game. There were a lot of little errors in there. But it was a big game with a lot of strong players. And we were the ones that were first able to upgrade that and get into chems, it felt like. So that kind of snowballed it for us. Combined with... we sat back and we watched the stock market for a little while. It was one of those awkward situations where nobody was quite being aggressive enough or falling out of the game fast enough that they needed to, there needed to be a shutdown, like an instantaneous reaction to what was going on in the stock market, right? That didn't exist. Instead, what existed was the situation where people were kind of starting to get into the stock market because they ran out of other things to do, is what it felt like. And they needed to commit their money somewhere and try and make purchases happen, but no one was anywhere close to getting to a purchase for a long time, is basically my point. And so we sat back and we bought up half of our own stock. And this is kind of what I like to do these days, is buy up half my stock when I'm in that kind of situation. And then we attacked a player. Right? And we were fairly confident we weren't going to get attacked back most of the time. Not in an effective fashion, because we had half of our stock already secured. And on top of that, we were going to go after Game Slayer directly, aka, who was it? Green. We were going after Green / Gameslayer directly at first. Then we saw Omar Little was also trying to make stock buys happen, so we just attacked the guy who was getting aggressive, right? It's that simple. Anyone tell me I sound like Solar Gamer? No, I haven't heard that yet. But anyways, that's not one I've heard yet. I've heard a bunch of other things, but some of them have been quite ridiculous, and I don't remember what all of them are. Back to the point. So we go after Omar because he's going after Gameslayer, and we wanted to go after Gameslayer. Like, that was the goal of buying Omar at all, was going after Gameslayer. And eventually we were able to make that work because Omar had half of Gameslayer's stock secured, and I think, like Gameslayer has pointed out in chat here, as Gameslayer pointed out in chat here, he just needs to buy himself more. If he had been in a position where he had bought a lot more of his own stock, we would not have easily taken him over by just buying somebody who had bought him. So, anyways, we apparently made 61,000 off the Pleasure Dome for the duration we had it. How much did Gameslayer make off of it? 179,000 off that Pleasure Dome. He built 3, apparently. Whatever. Confident I could survive long enough to buy out Omar. Yeah. I can understand that thought process. But given that I was the one that owned most of Omar for the duration of that, it didn't quite work out. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That does count rebuilding. Okay, that's what I figured. Okay. Sorry, a lot of discussion going on in chat at this point for the YouTube viewers. That's what's happening. So I'm trying to keep up with all of it. It can be a bit interesting. But okay, it was another decent win for us. I suppose we can check tech. I obviously had too much, right? 27 tech as opposed to 8 for Yuzzo, 12 for Gameslayer. So Gameslayer was actually doing a real good job on tech. He had carbon, he had chems, and he had glass, and all of those were solid. I think the real turning point that game was kind of this super awkward spot where I went after... I was building a patent lab, right? It was at like 38 out of 40. Specifically to get carbon scrubbing, because I knew that was going to be my plan going forward in this game based on what was happening, was I wanted carbon scrubbing. And I had known that for a while. And then the auction pops. And I think if I had been pressed much harder on that, I would have had a much harder time winning that game. But I was already pressed pretty hard. I don't remember exactly what I paid, but I think it was in the 30,000s. For carbon scrubbing. And so I got it instantly, and I didn't get a lot of benefit out of that, but it did let me move into my engineering labs, in particular, a bit faster. So what could have been a serious problem in not acquiring carbon scrubbing due to that auction ended up being a massive boost and let me kind of accelerate through the rest of that game fairly handily. Okay. Let's do another. Not too many more. Maybe just one, honestly. 1 or 2, but still. Host another little six man. Okay, what's carbon scrubbing? Carbon scrubbing allows you... Yeah, your buildings would normally consume carbon, but they don't. Exactly. So, it's basically... Think of it as all your buildings that consume carbon act like they're scientific buildings on top of carbon, right? They just don't have a carbon cost attached anymore. And I had seen that electronics was getting expensive and chemicals were getting expensive already back at HQ level 3 or something. So I knew I wanted carbon scrubbing, and I got it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and set up the reveal map, the masquerade. And let's try another. Okay. So this map, there's not a lot of carbon going. Okay, there's a good source of carbon without a whole lot of other great carbon on the map, it looks like. So that would be really nice. That'd actually be a really nice spot to have in some ways. It's a bit of a dangerous one because you're not founding on top of anything, but there are so many resources around. I think I would really like to try going scavenger again on that spot. It feels dangerous not going scientific, especially when you're talking about 6-man games, where scavenger always does better in smaller games because they can have more of an impact with their black market. But the carbon situation in this game is so awkward that I want to see if I can make it work. If I don't get that, there are other places I can plant and use effectively, so maybe not the end of the world. Maybe I just wait, though. Okay, somebody else went scavenger for the obvious play there, so we're going to try, I think, waiting. There we go. Can I just do this and get away with it? Maybe I can. It's not great iron access here, but there's some, so I'll just take that iron tile, I think. Sell down aluminum, buy up steel. Okay, that's all the steel we needed. That's great. Sell down carbon. We're not going to sell down our silicon this time. We'll go ahead and hold that. It's fairly cheap right now. And we'll probably want solar panels. We could try and get to geotherms. So I like this scavenger location, but it looks like 2 people kind of wanted to go scavenger this game, so it ended up being kind of awkward. We got to our upgrade very quickly, which is very nice for us. Partially because we do have a flood of aluminum coming in, which is pretty nice. All right. Black markets online. I'm tempted to buy up silicon right now, but it's probably kind of dangerous. Let's go ahead and grab that water tile, because it's a water tile and water is good most of the time. Do we just go for extra iron right now? Like, if we went too hard into steel right now, it's like steel is already kind of almost losing us money. It's already right at that line. I don't know if we should have even built the steel. Let's do this. Shoot, we could even scrap this steel, maybe. Like, do we just do that? Okay, geotherm auction. Let's see what happens with this first. Then we figure out what exactly we want to do about power. We've got 160 silicon saved up. It could be a decent idea to try and just move into power. My concern about that is it will make it difficult to acquire the glass we need in particular. Like, the glass is a big concern. We'll push to 18 for this. Okay, I don't really want to go above 20. I don't want to go above 20. But I'm still tempted to try this and see how it goes. So this isn't making us much money anyway. I know it's nighttime. I probably should have let it go for a little while longer. Well, no, because it would have been consuming more power, and that would have added to our debt, and that wouldn't have been good. So we're just going to try this. We're not going to go for any black market. We're taking a small risk here with our current play, because we are relying on getting to an upgrade without making steel. And with kind of this awkward aluminum situation going on, we're going to have to be careful about selling out of this aluminum. But we'll just kind of see what happens. There is a fair amount of steel production going on. 2 scientifics heavily into steel, 1 partially. Oh man, our scavenger's being silly. So hopefully the steel won't be a major problem. But trying to secure both the steel and the glass for an upgrade without making either of them is a bit dangerous. And that's my primary concern right now, is that I'm trying to make that happen. Thankfully, the iron is doing fine. Aluminum is okay, so we got to an upgrade. That's a pretty big deal. Now, we could throw down steel right now, but what I think I'd rather do is try and get to glass. The other option is to actually just head to hydroponic farms immediately, because I am not seeing... Okay, there's some farms down. So maybe glass would be a bit better long term, especially if we can get some of this silicon secured. We'll go ahead and take those. Okay, a little bit of aluminum coming down. That's okay-ish. And then we just go into like 3 glass here. We can always scrap out of this aluminum and head into farms as well if we would like to. Or reactors, things like that. Aluminum's getting pretty... Okay, aluminum's jumping all over the place right now. People are going nuts. And the power isn't really making us money, but it is kind of paying down a little bit of a trickle of debt, so it's still okay, I think. We're not in a great spot because I've done some kind of awkward things this game instead of going for the normal things, which they're the normal things for a reason. But we're still okay. We're okay. Let's see. This is a little silly to have on right now. These, I think, they're kind of okay. They're not great. We'll go ahead and turn those off as well. And maybe look at getting into reactors pretty soon. Farms would be good too. Farms and reactors both fairly strong right now. I never actually got the stupid claims out. There we go. Now the tiles are out there. That should help a bit. We do want to be using the black market maybe to grab a goon squad. And then we'll look at transitioning these into reactors, which I think we have enough cash for once we've sold everything. Right, there we go. The glass furnaces are only okay. But along with securing the glass furnaces, we've secured this silicon production to help compensate for it. With any luck, we'll be alright. Probably going to let this claim go. And that's okay. It's already up to 24,000. We're trying to make a little money on our power, so hopefully we're alright here. The glass probably wasn't a good idea, all things considered. Despite the fact that we're farms down, there are 6 players in this game. So you can afford a lot of food production. Especially because there are no robots. So I think the glass production was a mistake. All things considered. Should have just been reactors or farms instead. As we can see, the reactors are far more successfully making money right now. But we'll go ahead and leave the glass down in the hopes that we can get away with it, kind of. And push to an upgrade. Anyways, so there's still a lot of steel production down, which is nice. Asimov has gotten ahead of us in upgrades. It's no big surprise. He had glass down and he's had these farms down, which is very good for him. As we were talking about earlier, farms are really, really nice. We need to actually turn off our glass because things have just gotten that expensive. Whoa, don't do that. And I think we'll actually go ahead and just defend a reactor right now and try to get to an upgrade by selling down silicon, fuel, and oxygen is what we're going to need to do. Because we need HQ level 4 pretty fast here to keep up with Asimov. Asimov's looking real scary this game. He's had great production. He's boosting some of his stuff. All kinds of really, really nice things happening for him right now. Oh, I thought we had the upgrade. Come on. There we go. Go ahead and toss down another reactor when we can. And we could go ahead and move into steel as well. Just some steel, a reactor. Can turn the glass back on, sell down a little aluminum, and then maybe hit an engineering lab from here. Could be okay. Okay, his glass is still turned off, which is fantastic. EMP hurts. No big surprise we would get hit by an EMP. We're in a decent spot. Let's go ahead and turn all this stuff back on, I think. Yeah, water we should have turned on a long time ago. I let that get out of control. Fairly ridiculously, actually. But the steel is online. We're headed to this engineering lab that we've got at this point. So that's good. Water coming in. Reactors are frozen, still making good money when they're online. Glass making adequate money when it's online, not good money. And do we hit an adrenaline boost on the steel is the question. It's a little risky. It's just a little too risky, probably. Energy Vault would be cool, but not... it's kind of whatever, honestly. We can take it. We're not too attached to it. Things like that. It's okay. Power has never been a massive moneymaker for us this game, but we've also just kind of sat here at very, very little debt, never being close to getting bought out, which has been nice. He's actually moving into dry ice condensers. Very interesting indeed. Wanting a lot of oxygen there. The carbon is not good, so I have to question those in a lot of ways. Also, aluminum is potentially looking like the better thing to be in than these reactors at the moment, potentially. Although it did just shift significantly. The reactors are kind of... I mean, they're barely making money. We honestly need more water at this point, which means upgrading. We could also just upgrade some of our water production. I suppose that's what we'll start with this game. We want chems eventually. And potentially carbon scrubbing as well. Might should have gone for that first if we wanted it. Probably a misplay. Oh well. And there is some stock buying going on, but it's all defensive, so we're not going to worry about it. How are these reactors doing? Yeah, they're losing money. Alright, let's make the move. Let's just push to this upgrade rapidly by getting down aluminum. And then we'll transition all of it later, again. Silicon's still good. Power's still okay. We're just looking for this upgrade now. We're not very far away from it either. We'll want to take it immediately so we can just throw down probably 2 more water pumps. Even upgrade water production again.
With this new expansion, we have increased
2 water
our
pumps.
potential production rates by a lot.
Maybe some power.
Holders will love it.
There we go. Just a little power. And then I'm thinking maybe 2 chem labs. Chem labs aren't great right now, but long term it still might be the right option to get those chem labs down. Like 2 chem labs and an engineering lab, I think we can use. So I put the lab here, for example. Go ahead and goon squad it. 2 chem labs are kind of awkward. If I'm not careful about where I place them, we'll sell down this aluminum that's making us great money. So I'm going to go ahead and put them next to my power, so I can transition them more easily later. Food, thankfully, is not doing well for anybody right now. Wells is in a really bad spot in a lot of ways. So what does it take to buy him? 100,000? 100,000 to buy Wells. What's everybody sitting at right now? Asimov's the only one with stock in him. I have way more money than anybody else. I think we sit until we make this happen at this point. I think we can do that. We're pulling in so much from water production right now. I'm going to actually hold off on the engineering labs for the time being. All right, fine. I'll start buying in. Looks like I'm going to be forced to buy in a little bit. Everybody else kind of noticed what was going on there. So 121. We're still real close. We're still very close. We have a lot of debt now. When did we get 50,000 debt? Oh, whatever. I should have bid on that. I really should have. Okay. Big freeze onto our water and our power. It's still not going to put a stop to us, but it does slow us down significantly in pushing for this buy. It costs 133,000. Also froze our... Okay, this is what I get. This is what I'm talking about when you get aggressive on somebody. So maybe I can't finish that buyout. How much does Asimov actually have? Some, not a huge amount. So let's go back to upgrading. Let's go ahead and upgrade chems now. Get myself half bought, let's say. Now, how much is Asimov sitting on? 20,000. So we need to shut down Asimov a bit. Do a little freeze there. Okay, that revealed to us the Goon Squad, so now maybe we can use a power surge next time. Carbon is a little crazy expensive. I probably should have built a patent lab instead of 2 engineering labs if I wanted to use carbon-based resources, and I even talked about that a little bit. I just didn't actually do it. Let's get out of aluminum, because we've completely destroyed that market. Back into our reactors, which should be quite strong. Steel is still okay. Power is actually really good with that solar flare, so I'm glad we have some down right now. And 106 is what we need right now to finish that buyout. Asimov's going to need less. He's closer to it than we are. We just have to kind of trust that we're making more money at this point. Okay, Wells is starting to raise his price a little bit, so that's maybe good for us long term. I'm not honestly sure. We have more engineering labs down, which helps against Asimov, but Asimov is just making so much money right now, and we can't even effectively use these labs, is the problem. Okay, give me the power surge. Give it to me. I need it quite badly. We're trying to stop Asimov from getting this buy, but I don't think we're going to pull it off. He's closer than we are. And that's a big, big... Yep, he got it. That's so frustrating. We were so close to it. And we just barely couldn't quite make the push. Oh, man. Okay. Glass is okay. Reactor is pretty good. Power has died completely. That is a big problem, though. Big problem for us. Okay. Will an Offworld give us an edge anywhere? Not really. Let's go ahead and go for that patent lab that I wanted. And see about getting this Herbert buy done. Herbert's a little bit low on stock price right now. With not a huge amount of cash saved up. We're still in a terrible spot, though. Asimov is in a great spot. And we are in a very, very bad spot. Needing to push to 200,000 to get a buy. Like, Asimov is going to start running away with it quite easily at this point. That's a magnetic storm, which we can kind of use. Let's see. Food is good. Glass is okay. Electronics are a bit better. I don't really want that, actually. I want other people to deal with that. The water's not doing great anymore. It didn't last quite as long as we were hoping it would. I hate not being able to... Like, if that's what's so frustrating, actually, in a lot of ways. If we had been able to be effective with our black market against him, I think we would have pulled that off. But because our black market doesn't work very well, we didn't. And that's the long and the short of it. Chemical production is finishing its upgrade, which is really, really big. We will head into fuel production next, I think. Herbert paid down an awful lot of debt. No big surprise there. We're going to focus on Herbert, but we need to go ahead and secure most of our own stock, I think. That's important right now. And then we're just going to have to try and push to that Herbert buyout while shutting down Asimov the best that we can. Let's damage his water. Man, look at that. That hurts so much. It actually just hurts so much. All these EMPs. It's the danger of playing expansive. And then we wanted carbon scrubbing, but carbon's kind of come down significantly. Superconductor isn't... Well, I don't know. It's still kind of a nice safety net having carbon scrubbing. I wish I could select it, despite the fact that it's frozen right now. That's just an annoyance. Doesn't actually add anything to game, in my opinion. It's just an annoyance. But we're going to try and make this fuel work and see if we can get this Herbert buy done. 354,000. We're not in a good spot, like I was saying. We needed that buy that we were pushing for, and Black Market shut us down too hard for us to actually get to it. Let's go ahead and move into food. Should be fine. Also, moving into things like food and reactors right now kind of help inflate the price of water, which could help us long term, because we committed so heavily to that water play that just didn't pan out at the end of the day. Slant drilling could be all right. Silicon's not doing so hot either. Silicon's like crazy low right now. Maybe I just go for superconductor, so I've got that little bit of extra power generation. It's not great. It's not a great addition. Man, our debt's just skyrocketed completely. I think from this high food price, mostly. So Herbert's at 2 Offworlds. He's also scientific and pumping out chemicals like crazy. Okay. Our chemicals are still making money. They're just not very good at it still. Of course there's a silicon shortage as we made this transition away. Well, that got bought into quite heavily, so very unfortunate that we didn't have a supply of silicon sitting around, but we wouldn't have anyway, so. Alright. Now we're just going to sit back and do what we do. I don't think it's going to work this game, though. I think we've fallen too far out of it. Like, Herbert's closer to buying us than we are to buying him. We have to pay down debt, all kinds of crazy nonsense. I don't think it's going to happen, this one. Unfortunately. Maybe just an overcommitment to resources that were separated so that we weren't able to make the transition happen when we needed to. Just a lot of small details that needed to be cleaned up and weren't. I think I'm just going to get out of water completely for the moment. Move it all into power. Aluminum would be making an awful lot of money right now if we were using it. Electronics are very, very strong, but we're kind of ignoring that for the time being. We did pick up superconductor, which will help maybe just a little bit. Let's see, that's a solar flare. That should help out a lot, actually. Let's hit nanotech. And let's see, chems should be losing money gloriously right now. We could move into aluminum, actually, with this. And then maybe just one more solar panel down. We're probably going to kill this power price super fast with everything where it is, though. Let's go ahead and just pay down the rest of our debt just so it's done. 479,000 is what we're looking at to get a buy done. We're still in a terrible spot. Let's grab a mutiny just so we've got it. What do I do with this tile here? Do I just drop an Offworld? Is that okay? Offworlds aren't great, and it's kind of expensive, but steel's only like 100? I don't know. Maybe I can. Still in a real bad way, though. We needed that buy that Asimov got, unfortunately. We didn't get it. It's more or less what it comes down to. Alright, let's get out of power and back into water. Like, we committed everything to that buy. And when you commit everything to a play and it doesn't pan out, well, you're basically just dead. Which I think we are. There's nothing we can do to defend against Asimov other than continuing to throw a black market at him. And he's too science. He's too science for that to work out long term. Let's scrap out of these. Get back into silicon because that skyrocketed in response to power skyrocketing. Should have probably done that sooner. Of course, there's a silicon shortage on the way. Why wouldn't there be? And we're trying, guys. We're really making an effort, but it's just not enough. Herbert, with his Offworlds running, he's just been doing fantastically. I really wish I could get aggressive against all this stuff a little bit more successfully. That one's defended. That sucks. Well, yep. And he just took it right back because of the defense. And Asimov's most of the way to buying us, and he should probably just buy us, and we'll be out of the game at that point. I honestly don't know what we could have done. I honestly don't know. Maybe not try and go for glass early. That hurt us it slowed us down. We were so close to that buy, though. It's very frustrating. Herbert got a buy elsewhere. Asimov, that should clean him. That should clear him to buy us almost immediately at this point. I've kind of given up, and I'm not doing anything with all my tiles, so now when I lose, it's just kind of like, well, yeah, of course you lost. You weren't doing anything. But still. Water was kind of weird this game. I don't know, guys. We're just basically out of it. We could try and make some steel, but I guess we could move back into power. I don't know. I feel like we'd have had it if we'd gotten the buy on Yuzo instead of Asimov, but we didn't, and so we don't have it. I don't know what else to say besides that. I don't know how we fix that situation. Like I was saying, maybe not go for glass. Maybe try a little bit harder with the black market shutdown. I don't know. But when you only shut down an opponent for such a short period of time, you always have to kind of wonder, is it worth it? Was it worth it to go ahead and do that? I don't know. We can try another mutiny, I suppose. And then the tile gets frozen immediately, of course. Food is losing money quite badly. Let's get out of that. I don't know. I just don't know. I guess we could shift into aluminum for a short time and completely destroy that for a while, since these aren't making money effectively at all. Do I have nanotech? I've been sitting on this patent lab as well, not doing much. I've just been so annoyed since that we were so close on that buyout, and I couldn't make it happen. It's been bothering me ever since. Let's get out here. Yeah, Herbert's going to kill us so easily, I think. And even if we got Herbert done, there's just no way we would bring down Asimov. We just don't have the tech. We're trying. We just don't have it. And they do. Man, it's so frustrating. Asimov better win this. I'm going to be kind of annoyed if Herbert brings him down. Well, we're making something with the water. The power's okay. The silicon's okay. All of it's all right. Like, we're making money. It's just not a lot of money. And we need to not be sending water right now. Let's just send some oxygen. A mutiny somewhere. Did we actually have that? Oh, yeah, we did. It was just frozen. Ugh. Send some food, I guess, maybe. No, just send some water. It's fine. Alright. 789. Very unfortunate, but I don't know. I'm trying, guys. I really am, but it's just not going to happen. Go ahead and construct that, I suppose. I could try scrapping the Offworld. I have nanotech, right? Yeah? Yeah, I have nanotech. I guess I could try. As a last-ditch thing. Just being like, hey... No, I said delete. 725. Yeah, we're just not there. We just can't do it. Oh, man. That really sucks. Herbert got it done for killing us. That's very frustrating. So Asimov... I don't even know. I guess it's Year-End and Death Tacticus, probably? Oh, man. Herbert is actually going to pull this off. That would be so frustrating if Herbert goes ahead and pulls this off. There's no way Asimov should be losing this one. He just... But Herbert has a lot of cash, and Asimov just doesn't, is what it looks like. Like... For some reason, it's not showing me money values the way it's supposed to, but... Year-End is just kind of wrecking. I don't know how he pulled it off, but he did. Very frustrating. Very frustrating that the guy who got the buy on the guy we were going after couldn't quite use it to win the game. I think it's maybe too many engineering labs in part. Or, these engineering labs have not done enough. Look at this. 7 engineering labs with 1 running. This is how you lose a game, right here. Whereas Year-End, I'm betting... Let's go ahead and check tech. 18, 26, yeah. Whereas 13. So with that many engineering labs, Death Tacticus is behind on tech. That's what it is, and that might let Year-End win it. So Death Tacticus, he made the early move happen, but he just failed in the late game is what it looks like. So I think Year-End is going to be the one to end up taking it, which is kind of sad. Because it means that if we had actually taken down Year-End, we would have had the game. And I think we just made too many mistakes for that to happen after getting so annoyed about missing out on this Yuzo buy that we wanted so badly.
Look at all the
The
money.
black market is online.
I don't need to hear about the black market being online and all that nonsense. But yeah, Uran should go ahead and be able to take it. He's only 200,000 away. Death Tacticus isn't anywhere close. Big mistakes with these engineering labs. Why would I be lagging, I wonder? There should be nothing going on over here. I don't know what's going on there. Unfortunate. That means I might need to just call it if I'm lagging
Offworld shipment
badly for people.
Look at all the
That would be
money.
unfortunate.
Offworld shipment launched. Look at all the money launched.
Hmm.
Look at all the money.
Can't hologram a mutiny. Interesting. It was a close one. It was a decent effort. Uran should be able to take this
All the money.
actually at any moment if he just control shift downs. Or does Uran have... Let's check patents. Yeah, he has Energy Vault. That's why things were looking a little weird there. But he still got it done. Interesting. Very interesting. He pulled it off. He recovered better than we did. I mean, I think a lot of that was honestly just, that's what you get for founding Expansive sometimes. It hurts, but it's the way it is. Scientific black market resistance, just not fun. Just not fun. Alright. Well, if I'm lagging... Well, Game Slayer, let me know when you're shut down by EMPs literally all game, and then we'll talk. Okay. Since I'm lagging for people playing in game and things like that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here, unfortunately. We did get in a nice few set of games, and I think I was planning on stopping around this time anyway. We almost got through the full 3 hours. So, it's not that bad. I will be working on, at some point, talking about what's coming in the next patch. I don't think I'm going to be on the Mohawk stream this week. I think that is going to be covered by Deft Monkey, aka Scott, from what I know. But I will still try and be there that morning, regardless. And I hope I'll see you guys there. If I don't, the next time I'm streaming at this point will be Friday night. So be watching out for that. And of course, if you want any more Offworld trading content, feel free to head on over to YouTube or hit the follow button, because I haven't done that in like a week. So there you go. Am I going to upload more stuff this week? I definitely am. Most of it's going to be from this stream and things like that. I will see if I can start getting in some videos that aren't from the stream, though. I wasn't talking about anybody insulting me. But, that's not what it is. It's just that Def Monkey asked to do it. Anyway, I'm trying to wrap up here. I should stop reading chat and just go ahead and call it good. So I'm going to head on out of here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I'll see you next time.